Yeah, no, I figured you have a little bias going into it, and that's fine. I mean, it's fine to have biases and everything. It's more or less
I
of
do
just
like the ThunderCats though. I
see. That's
like
the
the
thing. Like,
ThunderCats.
I enjoy the Thundercats. I don't know which one I like more.
And in all honesty, these two groups would never fight. They would never ever fight. Like if it came down to it, they would meet each other and immediately love one another.
No, yeah, they would absolutely enjoy.
Unfortunately, we're gonna make them fight.
Yeah, yeah. So that's normally what we. So this is like three matches in a row that we've come across where it's like these two would actually never fight. They would just be buddies and enjoy each other's company. Corrin versus Oryx would just not fight each other because they're too powerful. And then Anos versus Rimuru would not fight because they're two good guys. I mean, they're literally just the same aspect to each other. And then you have this fight, which is like, I don't know. I agree. These two would just not fight each other. They would more or less just group up together to go defeat whatever baddie Power Rangers wants to. And especially if the Power Rangers figured out that, well, hey, you guys kind of have like a knockoff little villain called, what was his name? Mama Ra. Yeah, I mean, I could already tell them they just jump in with each other.
Oh yeah,
Which, by the way,
especially.
oh, go ahead.
No, you go ahead.
I was gonna say, by the way, I already kind of figured. I started thinking about this earlier today after we talked, and I kind of thought that this was going to be a one-sided battle because Momura feels like a type of bad guy that the Power Rangers would just simply beat down as if it was nothing. And the more I thought about that, the more like, huh, I think we made a mistake in this battle.
Yeah, we probably should have put them against the Mighty Morphin. They probably would have had a much better chance.
Yeah, yeah. All right. So let's go ahead and get with predictions. Since you three are here, we'll go ahead and get started with. Um, I'll go ahead and do mine. I'm going to be honest with you. After and I love the Thundercats, but part of me is giving it to um, part of me is giving it to the Power Rangers. Um, and I mean, I stopped watching the Power Rangers after like the third season. Um, and I did watch the movie when I was young, but um, I don't know. I just feel like the Power Rangers are like a secret, overpowered, like amazing task force that just can't really ever be defeated, other than just have mild inconveniences thrown their way, which is perfectly fine.
Yeah.
So I have to give it to the Power Rangers on this one. All right, Knight, what's yours?
Um. Yeah, kind of already talked about it, but yeah, I'm heavily biased Power Rangers, especially the more. Again, this is one of my favorite seasons, Wild Force, season 10, the last season that Saban did their first time around of ownership. So this was, in all intensity or in all intensive purposes, going to be the last season as far as they were concerned. So they put a ton into it as far as original footage filmed. And so yeah, when I rewatched and actually took notes for the first time, I was just like, wow, these guys are actually very, very powerful. Very powerful. Obviously, still, not Marvel and DC world breakers, but absolutely city busters, and we're talking large cities.
Oh yeah, yeah. No, I agree on that one. All right, so we got two in the favor of the Power Rangers. Luna, what do you think?
Honestly, I'll root for Thundercats. Again, I know very little about either one. I do know a little more about Power Rangers than I do Thundercats. So again, I do apologize on that one.
You're fine.
But I'm gonna pull for Thundercats a little bit. Over the years, they've had a lot of adaptations, a lot of feats and everything else that are actually really good. Not to mention the fact that Mr. Thundercat, I think, is actually strong enough to go against He-Man, which
Yeah,
is saying something.
we're gonna about yeah. I see that. I'm about to say that his sword is gonna. I have a feeling you're right. I still
His
think
sword is going to be tough. Yeah.
yeah, I was gonna say I still think the Power Rangers are gonna be, but I think that sword is I think that sword's gonna cause some issues here. I'll be honest with you. All right, so unlike all the other ones that we've done, this one's gonna be more fun. Yeah, it's just everybody. I don't think anybody else is joining us. This one's going to be a little bit more enjoyable because this one's going to be not just a single versus single battle. This is a team versus a team. And I will say, in terms of both of these teams, and it's not, so at this point in time, we can't use it as a beneficial to each other. So it's a benefit to each other. So therefore, it's a nulling effect of each team is the how good and how they're able to cooperate with each other and kind of feed off of each other's energy. They both have that, and we've seen it time and time again in the cartoons, animations, comics, everything. So I will say that one, and my personal belief is should be nullified. Is everybody in agreement?
Nullified for what? I'm sorry.
So
You
these
cut in and
two
out.
are so these two are really close team battles, and these two teams constantly feed off of each other's energy and will constantly help each other out, particularly in amazing situations where they don't even have to talk to each other. So therefore, saying that one can work better than the other is nullified because again they are both phenomenally team driven fighters. Is what I'm saying. One doesn't have an advantage of the other because of that. Because again, both of them again have a ability to
Really
just
good
work
team.
off of each other. Yep.
Yeah.
Yeah, friendship isn't going to be enough.
Yeah, friendship's not going to be enough in this fight. I'll go ahead and say that one. All right, there I got the music playing. Let me go ahead and flip that over. Alrighty, so I think the easiest way to do that, and the easiest way to kind of do this one is to go go down the list. So probably Leo versus is it still the Red Ranger that's in charge of the Jungle Force?
Cole Evans. Yeah, Cole Evans. You want me to do a little roll call?
Yeah, let's get a roll call in here. So I'm gonna put
All right.
Leo
You want me to just
versus
give their names,
Red.
or you want me to give like their weapons and stuff as well?
We'll just do names and then we'll do the well actually here let me do something right fast. We'll just do this easier. All right, go ahead with the names and the weapons.
All right. So, Power Rangers Wild Force. We got Cole Evans as the Red Ranger. He's the leader, as with dang near every Power Ranger season, minus a handful. Leader, he can communicate with all animals. Really, actually, he can communicate with anything with a heart. He can connect to it and speak with it, all that good stuff. So he's armed with the Crystal Saber. All the Rangers, that's their essentially their sidearm. They all have the Crystal Saber. But then he also has the Red Lion Fang, which is a melee weapon, but it can convert to a blaster. So he's one of the few who are capable of short and long range combat. At the height of their power, which I am assuming is when this matchup's going to take place, he'll have the Falcon Bow and access to Red Savage mode, which is essentially his Battle Eyes mode, and we can get the scaling of that later.
All right.
But that comes with a finishing move, so he is one of the members on the team who has his own finishing move. You know, he doesn't have to rely on the fact they can, combine their 5 weapons and form a finisher. He can do one on his own.
Yeah.
And as far as Zords go, he has the Lion, the Gorilla, and the Falcon. Now, I know we probably aren't using the Zords, but Zords are still unique to these Rangers because they are connected to their Zords on a soul level. So that means even if he's not using a weapon that, say, the Lion Zord thinks he should be using, he can communicate with him via, like, their souls, and the weapon will, like, appear. or they all have a bike as well. The bike will appear or something like that.
Okay.
It's like a get out of jail free card.
And what was those Zoids again?
The Red Lion Zord, the Gorilla Zord, and the Falcon Zord.
All right.
You know, just while we're on the topic of it, he actually has 5 solo monster defeats, and by defeat I mean he destroyed the monster. Dang near all of them, beat quote unquote a monster several times in the season, but was ultimately finished with their combination weapon. He actually by himself destroyed 5 monsters. One was a general.
All right, so 5 confirmed kills.
Yes, one being a general, which is the second highest form of monster, only second to Master Org himself.
All right.
So that's Cole. Then the Yellow Ranger, we have Lieutenant Taylor Earhart. She's a lieutenant in the Air Force prior to becoming a Power Ranger. So she brings she's kind of the drill sergeant of the group. She's the hard nose, by the books, kind of keeps everybody in line.
Yeah. So
she has the ability of flight, like in her suit will span wings and she can fly. She also has the Crystal Saber. They all have the Crystal Saber. She has the Golden Eagle Sword. An Armadillo Puck, which is just a silly weapon she only used once that she throws at people. And then Feather Darts. Which kind of gives her a mid-range combat ability. But the fact she can fly is pretty cool.
Yeah.
She can cover a lot of ground via that. Her Zords are the Eagle, the Black Bear, and the Polar Bear.
All right. God, you weren't kidding when they have a bunch of Zoids. Holy shit.
Huh?
You weren't kidding when they had a bunch of Zoids.
Yeah, 17 at their immediate disposal. So next we got the Blue Ranger, Max Cooper. He's definitely the youngest member of the group. Oh, I'm sorry. Confirmed kills for Yellow Ranger real quick. So she had 1 confirmed monster kill on screen, but she was a ranger a year before any other ranger became a ranger. So she was soloing this for a year. So we have no idea how many confirmed kills she actually has in that 1 year that she was just by herself.
All right.
So the 1 on screen, and then who knows after that. So Blue Ranger, Max Cooper. Again, he's the youngest of the group. Kind of childlike. He has, again, the Crystal Saber, as they all do. Blue Shark fighting fins and the Sword of Pardolis. And then he's the only ranger with 2 Zords.
Okay, give me 1 sec. I got semi-distracted. It's helping.
Oh, you're good.
Helping. John, leave and then come back in, and you should be able to talk.
Oh, and here I just thought he was being polite.
Oh, still can't talk. Oh, good lord.
Hold on. I just gotta give him permissions. Hold on.
Who doesn't?
That's the problem. He doesn't have permissions. Well, he should. Hold on.
About to say, I gave him some, but
view channel, connect, speak. Oh, it's use voice activity. You have to have that enabled.
Oh.
Save changes. All right. No. Yep. Hold on. Let me just. He should be able to speak now.
Yes,
Can you hear?
All right, John, can you talk?
Yeah, you're not muted. We should be able to hear you. He has permissions.
Yeah.
You just have to make sure that the use voice activity is on, but
maybe he has to join himself.
No.
Starbucks streaming just
Speak.
so low fucking energy. just might become bigger too.
Okay, let's see.
But it would be an interesting.
Yeah, Lionel's awesome.
Yeah, no, he's fucking cool. That's what me and my
Okay,
brother had an
so
argument against him and
He says
He-Man.
he's trying to talk, but he can't talk.
Maybe he should leave and then try joining back, see if that works. Because I gave him permissions. It's worth a try.
Speak to us, brother.
No,
Alright.
it's on his side. It's on his side. Then
Mine's fucked.
Yeah, I told him to disconnect and reconnect, John. Maybe that'll work.
he did. He did.
Yeah, you have
Uh,
permissions.
Yeah, it literally should just be like his mic settings maybe. Should I talk about Lionel? Oh, I heard-
There we go.
Yes.
All right, let's get through the Rangers, then we'll go into the ThunderCats.
Okay.
Let me get through the Rangers, but then I want to get y'all's input on who you think is going to win.
Well, that's
And
easy. It's ThunderCats.
Well, let's get done with the Rangers, then we'll go into that one.
Yeah.
All right, because this is
All
gonna
right,
be
it's starting to fight. I'm already starting to fight.
All right, Knight, go ahead and start with the Blue Ranger again.
Yeah, Max Cooper, the Blue Ranger. Like I said, just the I guess comedic relief of the group. Definitely the most childlike. All these guys and girls. This whole team was actually adults. This was kind of when they were getting into the let's make them all adults kind of thing.
Alright.
And so yeah, weapons again, Crystal Saber. They all have that. The blue shark fighting fins and the sword of Pardolus. And his Zords are the shark and the giraffe.
Alright.
Then Black Ranger, we have Danny Delgado. He is the strongest on the team. He's at least twice as strong as all the other Rangers, even out of morph. Weapons, Crystal Saber, Black Bison Axe, and the Rhino Shooter. So he's one that can fight close range or long range with that shooter. And then his Zords are the Bison, Rhino, and Armadillo.
Alright.
So White Ranger is Alyssa in Relay. And she's kind of like the den mother of the group. But she's also the only one on the team who's a true martial artist. They're all extremely good fighters, especially Cole. But she's the only one who's a true martial artist. She actually has her family's martial art style, which you would never guess is the White Tiger style. And funny how that works.
Yeah, that's gonna be fun.
So her weapons are Crystal Saber, the White Tiger Baton, and the Deer Clutcher. Her Zords are the White Tiger, the Elephant, and the Deer. And then I haven't forgot to give monster total defeats. The other ones just hadn't had one. Again, they've beaten monsters, but then the monster was ultimately destroyed by the finishing, weapon combo. And she hasn't defeated any monsters, but she has defeated 2 Rangers. She constantly fights the Blue Ranger and Black Ranger simultaneously to hone her martial art style. And the reason I bring that up is because she hasn't just done this once. She's done it 40 times, according to the dialogue in the episode. So 40 confirmed wins over a 2v1 versus the Blue and Black Ranger.
Alright.
And that brings us to the 6th Ranger, Merrick Ballatin, Lunar Wolf Ranger. He's also the very quick backstory of the Wild Force Rangers. A lot of stuff went down 3,000 years ago. That was back before they were Rangers. Their predecessors were just called the Animal Warriors, and Merrick was one of them. He ended up having to use the mask of the wolf to turn evil, but it temporarily gave him a power-up boost to do what he needed to do 3,000 years ago, and then he got sealed away by the other warriors via their crystal sabers. And then this team woke him up, had to fight him for a little bit, and then beat him, and he's good again, because that's how Six Rangers work. So yeah, he's from way back in the day. So he is kind of a solo powerhouse, as most Six Rangers are. He has the Lunar Q, which is what you think it is. It's a pull stick that can turn into a sword and a blaster. And he has his own, like the Red Ranger, he has his own finisher. So he doesn't have to rely on them to combine weapons. He can just do his own finishing move whenever he needs to. He has the Wolf Zord, the Hammerhead Zord, and the Alligator Zord. And he has confirmed monster kills. Where'd it go? So 5 confirmed monster kills, just as much as the Red Ranger. And he has also killed a general by himself.
Alright, I got the Hammerhead, the Wolf, and what was the last sword?
The Alligator.
Alligator. Alright, so I got all that for the Power Rangers. Alright, so we got some decent information from them. Alright. Alright, so let's go back for a second. Alright, John, who do you think is going to win? ThunderCats or the Power Rangers?
ThunderCats by a mile, dude.
Alright, ThunderCats. Roderick, who do you think is going to win?
Honestly, I don't know. I'm excited for learning more about both. I have a bias to ThunderCats because I grew up with that. But I've learned a little bit about the Power Rangers here, so I'm just excited to know a little bit more before I make a judgment.
All right.
But I'm gonna say I'm leaning on ThunderCats right now.
All right. Yeah, I figured you were leaning a little bit, so I went at that. And is Lunar joining us? I heard 3 of Mike. I just wanted to make sure.
Nah, she just wanted to give her input about ThunderCats and Lionel.
All right. Well, I'm going to say she was ThunderCats.
ThunderCats.
All right. So, thanks to everybody joining. It went from Power Rangers to heavily ThunderCats.
But Knight could convince me otherwise. I could be changed.
Oh,
You could be that dumb, yes. I'm just playing.
Snarf.
All right, so we got the Power Rangers. All right,
Yes.
go ahead and bring in the ThunderCats. I'm assuming John has all the information for the ThunderCats because he was super excited.
I can do that for you.
All right. Yeah, go for it if you want to. Because usually what I do is
I do have one question because this is a teeny bit unfair technically.
all right.
Because in this particular season of Power Rangers, there's only 6 Rangers, and the ThunderCats eventually expand from 5 to 8. So, do you want me to include the other 3 ThunderCats from the expanded seasons, or
I didn't know they had 8. Shit. Okay, I thought they had 5.
they have technically? Well, they do have 5. The Wily Kit and Wily Cat technically do the same thing, but they are 2 separate characters, and they do have separate things. But they eventually pick up 3 more Thunderians that they basically give the rank of being a ThunderCat, because basically the ThunderCats are like the nobility of Thundera. It's a thing.
So
but they pick up 3 more. Yeah.
I want to give them at their strongest. We didn't hold back with Anos with his eyes.
Okay.
But if we start to feel like it's beginning to kind of lean heavily in their direction, then we'll obviously pull the 3 back.
Okay, that's fine. Like I said, or we could just have them deal with the 6 Ranger thing, or whatever, however you want to do it. I just wanted to know how many of these guys you wanted me to go over.
Yeah,
basically.
we'll do all of them.
Mhm.
And then, like I said, if it gets soon, we'll just get rid of the 3 extra and go with the actual 5 main.
Okay. And we're going based off the 1985,
It
not the 2011 Dungeons and Dragons version of ThunderCats that happened.
Technically, whatever their strongest form is what we're going with.
We're definitely going 80s then.
Yeah, if I say, I feel like the 80s is the strongest because they were well more flushed out.
You mean cocaine-powered ThunderCats? Here we go. Okay.
You can
All
say
right.
the same thing about heroes, like comic book heroes.
True. I mean, but the thing is if we go with the original ThunderCats going up against Jungle Fury, there would be a slight difference in like the amount of technology and stuff they use because the 2011 series is different. There's like an anti-technology
Isn't
message
that the
in it and
Netflix
stuff
one?
like that. Was supposed to be. I don't know if it's still on Netflix or not, but it only had one season. It basically, like, Lionel was a paladin, Chitara was a cleric, Tigra was basically like a fighter with some magic abilities.
Okay.
Wily Kit and Cat were like a bard and a rogue combo. Panther was a monk. Like, it's literally very Dungeons and Dragons feeling.
Oh, okay, yeah, that
Um,
wasn't the one that I
yeah.
was thinking of. All right, now we'll go with
No,
80s
you're
one.
thinking, yeah, and if you're thinking of ThunderCats Roar, that was the goofy kind of Teen Titans Go kind of spin-off thing that they did. So there's been 3 series. So,
Okay.
but yeah, I'll go through each of them here real quick.
All right.
Whenever you're ready.
Yep.
Oh, manager,
Her.
were you? Because I saw you type in.
Yeah, I was going to
something.
get yours. Which one do you think is going to win?
Oh, okay. How many ThunderCats are there again total?
We're going with the 8 one right now.
8 ThunderCats and
6 Power Rangers.
crap. Do the ThunderCats have something that's similar to a Zord? Like, isn't their ship able to transfer?
So I'm not bringing in their Zoids unless we can get like
No, most
Yeah,
of their vehicles are things like the Thunder Tank would be the equivalent of like the Power Rangers bikes and stuff like
Yeah,
that.
We're not gonna
Okay,
use the
right.
swords. I only mention them because and I'll go into kind
They,
of,
they have a purpose in this series
right,
compared to
right.
other
They
ones.
can,
Yeah.
they can give a
There's
boost.
like over
Yeah.
100 of them in the finale, by the way. So
There is 100. Yeah.
yeah, that was the part where I was like, okay, if this is a Zord fight, this is like overkill.
Yeah.
Yeah. Okay, yeah. If we're
Yeah,
doing
what-
Zords, then I think the ThunderCats would win
All right.
because I know that the Zords are incredibly fucking powerful.
That is a fair assessment, and I will give you that on that. But if we're going just straight up character versus character, I think it's more of a fair fight kind of thing.
Oh yeah, no, I think it's
Yeah.
kind of fair. I
Yeah.
think Lino himself kind of outperforms most of the Rangers though.
All right. So
All
you're
right.
going.
And then in the terms of numbers, the Rangers do have a 7th they can bring in. Princess.
They also
Shayla.
have the crossover season with the Time Rangers, so I'd allow some of those to come in if you wanted to. I mean, if you wanted to do an 8 versus 8 thing, I mean,
So the only ones on Earth would be the Quantum Ranger, who I think even Quick agrees we could probably scale to a Space Marine, and then the Red Ranger.
Yeah, I don't
Yeah.
want the Quantum in there because we're getting on Space Marine level bullshittery, and it's
oh
kind of
no,
like
I'm just saying if you wanted to make it an even 8 versus 8, I'd allow those two because they are on Earth before the crossover.
Did they ever
So-
bring in the OG Green Ranger into that series?
Not that. Well, they did
Not
for
this one.
it is in the Forever Red episode.
Yeah, as the Red Ranger.
we're not bringing in Green Ranger. I've now figured out why everybody fucking loves that Ranger, and he's not coming into this fight.
I wouldn't.
Well, no, like
I
this
wouldn't
season
compare
was the 10th anniversary season, so it had a lot of extra
Right,
stuff
yeah,
and a
it
crossover
has,
season. Like this one, honestly, bang for your buck is not bad. I have some issues with the storylines of it, which I'll go over while we're having this discussion, but it's not too bad.
But yeah, right before you got here, like Saban, this was their last one before they sold to Disney, so they put so much into it as far as original footage.
Because they were trying to sell it.
Well, it was already sold. Disney helped a little with this.
Yeah, yeah, but like Saban's whole thing was like, it's the 10th anniversary. Let's sell it because it's costing us way too much money.
Yeah.
Okay, but if we're including the third party of one singular Space Marine, then I'm going with the Space Marine.
No, we're not bringing in the
No, no,
Quantum
no, no,
Ranger.
no.
I wouldn't
I'm
feel
joking.
comfortable. Yeah, I wouldn't feel comfortable bringing in those two Rangers, but Princess Shayla did fight.
Okay.
Of a Borg in one episode. With, like,
I mean,
36.
as long as you're not
So-
trying to bring in like Optimus Prime Animalist guy or whatever his name is, I'm okay with that. Not being in there, I'm like, oh yeah, Animal God, let's fight that guy. That'll be great.
So let's see what the Thundercats have, and then we'll see if we want to bring in the
Okay.
princess.
Okay, no problem.
Because right now, I still feel like it's a pretty good fight based off of what I remember with the Power Rangers and the Thundercats. Even though they're outnumbered, I still think the Rangers still has a lot of possibilities. I'll leave it at
Okay.
that.
All right. Okay. So I'll go through the original like 6 main characters for right now. And then we'll add the other 3 if you want to use them. Okay. So I'll start off with Lion-O. All right. Whenever you're ready, quick.
Yep.
Okay. 1 second here. So Lion-O, the Lord of the Thundercats, is originally in the first episode a 12-year-old Thundercat cub. He's of the Lion House. He's the son of the king, basically, and his father has passed away as their planet's exploding, kind of in sort of a Superman kind of thing. He later, thanks to a mishap with his pod that all the other Thundercats go into to hibernate through the long drive from space drive from Thundera to Third Earth. He basically ages to the body of like a 20-year-old, basically. So he has the mind of a 12-year-old child at the beginning of the series and ages to be about 20 years old. He basically is super strong, but he is not the strongest one. He's very cunning, skillful. He's basically kind of the best of all the Thundercats mixed together. He has the hereditary title of Lord of the Thundercats, but he still has to learn how to use the Sword of Omens, which is basically the penultimate best sword of the 1980s, cartoon phenomenons. Basically can fire bolts of energy. It allows Lion-O to see across great distances with the power of sight beyond sight. It is...
Your time with that?
He can. There's also... he also has a lot of abilities. The sword will even allow him to fly in certain cases. But the big thing that it has is whenever he calls the whole Thundercats ho thing, when he does that battle cry and the signal shoots up, it's like a bat signal kind of thing into the sky. All the Thundercats get an energy. So it's basically like a rallying cry to where they're about, according to most things I've read, about 2 times stronger temporarily. So they basically all get like an adrenaline surge kind of thing. Okay. He also has the claw shield, which has grappling hooks in the knuckle. So he can use that to fly and also to house it. Now the Sword of Omens itself shoots from being the size of a dagger to the size of basically a long sword. So it is a multi-purpose kind of weapon thing there. And that's pretty much everything on him stat-wise.
Alright.
Unless we want to count the Book of Omens at the end of the series, but that's a whole other thing.
No, I think with Sword of the Omens, especially with like manipulating time
Yeah.
and some other stuff, I think that'll be pretty good.
Yeah, there's the Book of Omens basically sends him into an alternate dimension kind of thing. It's weird.
Yeah, no, we'll skip that one.
Okay. All right.
Oh,
So then
let
we
me interrupt right fast. If anybody else has anything to add for any of these characters, please interrupt. I want this to be formal, but also a podcast. Enjoy, have fun. That's the whole purpose of these things.
Oh yeah.
So, interrupt if
Yeah.
you want to add anything.
Anything in that description sound weird or anything there quick, or you good?
No, I'm good. I've kind of already
Okay.
kind of got a little bit of their aspect.
Okay. Okay. So then we move on to the other Thundercats, which whenever you're ready to record the next one, quick, let me know.
Yep, I'm good.
All right. Following Lion-O, we have what most people consider to be probably the coolest Thundercat, which is Panthro. In the original series, Panthro is basically kind of the go-to fighter and strongman of the group. He is the strongest Thundercat, basically. But he also, besides with his martial arts fighting, he is not the typical dumb muscle-bound hero that you got in the 1980s. He is actually the chief mechanic / engineer and pilot for the Thundercats. So along with Tigra, basically, he builds all the vehicles that the Thundercats use on Third Earth, like the Thunder Tank, the Feliner, the Thunderclaw, Thunderstrike, and Hovercat. So basically, he's kind of he's basically the flyer, but also the mechanic of the group. Now, when it comes to his martial arts abilities, he's basically like a ninja, is kind of the easiest way I can describe kind of his fighting style. He's got a good sense of humor, but if you tick him off, basically everybody's like more afraid of him than they are of Lion. Ticked off, basically. He uses a nunchucka that has these, one has a blue end, one has a red end, that can shoot basically chemical sprays, basically like cold and fire kind of stuff. The nunchucka can also shoot out these ball bearings that he can use against foes. So, like, if he needs to trip somebody up or, like, take out multiple opponents, he can drop these. The spikes on his chest bands that he has are actually can be projectile weapons, or they can be like a repelling line. So you can shoot these things up and fly up like a grappling hook kind of situation.
I'm going to interrupt you, man. My God, this man is strapped from head to toe. Holy
oh no,
shit.
But he does have a weakness. He does have a weakness.
All right.
He does have a phobia of bats.
So he'd be terrible to fight against Batman.
Yes.
All right.
Now he's basically now and that's basically everything that's on with Panthro. Unless somebody else has something to add on there.
I did want to say to add to Lion-O,
Mhm.
I saw this. Apparently, the Sword of Omens also gives him a force field and danger sense.
Oh, yep, you're right. I forgot about the force
Okay,
field.
I'm gonna put
the
sword.
I was reading about that force field. There was something specific here about it. Here we go. The Spirit Stone can project a shield that even Mum Ra couldn't break, and it also blocks multiple blasts from an artillery cannon from a transport ship with ease.
Yeah. Sorry, the force field thing's only in a couple of episodes, so a lot of it kind of get like a lot of the abilities the Sword of Omens does. It's kind of the Deus Ex Machina of the show.
Yeah.
So basically, the sword can do whatever he wants to do, which is why a lot of people argue whether He-Man's Sword of Power is more powerful than the Sword of Omens, and the Sword of Power may be more powerful, but the Sword of Omens has more utility, like in what it does, kind of thing.
Yeah. Does the sight, does it do
the sight
anything
beyond
other-
sight is basically his danger sense thing amped up.
No. The sight beyond sight. Well, yes, you are right, but from what I'm seeing, they also say it's different. Like he can basically see anything in the universe that he wants to see. It doesn't
sight
have
beyond
to,
sight, yeah.
Yes, it doesn't have to be specifically danger, but he can he can use it to see danger.
So it's a spider.
That's what it's used for most of the time in the stories and stuff. Is basically that he's using it to find out. Panthro's been missing for 5 hours. Let's see what he's up to. Oh no, he's being attacked by the Lunatics. Oh no, that kind of thing.
Yeah, but the sword itself, like the danger sense, is separate from the sight beyond sight. Because if he's about to be attacked or something, it apparently can warn him.
Is it like a spider sense?
A little bit, but there's actually a character that has one that's even more so like that, which would be Chitara. So that's why I didn't list that on there, is because it's kind of a dulled down version of that. If that makes sense. His doesn't really kick into play unless somebody's like a whole bunch of things are about to attack him at once, kind of thing. It's literally more like a spider sense than Chitara's is, because hers is more of a. She could be like knocked out for days just from getting vision from something, but I'll go over that whenever I do her bio thing here.
Yeah.
Let's see. I think that's everything. At least that I'm seeing. Okay.
I'm ready for Chitara.
I had Tiger up.
Oh,
next,
Tiger. Okay,
actually.
let me go through
Yep.
Tiger.
Okay. All right. So Tiger is basically confirmed to be the second in command in one episode. So if anything happens to Lino, Tiger is basically inheriting the title of Lord of the Thundercats, because this is a royal lineage thing. He is the smartest Thundercat in every version of the Thundercats series. He's kind of he's basically the guy responsible for designing and building the bases. He's kind of more of a scientist architect kind of thing. So like the cat slayer is the original thing that he builds by himself, pretty much, or designs by himself. And then later you get the Tower of Omens that the other three Thundercats usually operate out of on the other side of Third Earth. So like one's kind of like a watchtower, and the other one's kind of like basically a lair / home for everybody.
Right.
He's the only Thundercat that has mind powers. Now, these have he can basically create massive illusions and stuff with these, but if he's using these powers, they put a lot of strain on him. So it's more or less, if he's using this, he's basically going to be out of a fight after a while. His bola whip does allow him to turn invisible, except when he's swimming. He cannot keep his invisibility up if he's submerged in water. So that's the only downside to it. Let's see here. And that's pretty much everything on him, basically. Then we have Chitara, and Chitara was is kind of the speedster of the group, obviously. Her top speed has been clocked at 120 miles an hour, basically. She can do the super speed in short bursts, but if she does it for too long, of course, it'll, knock her out, that kind of thing. Her sixth sense of danger can give her, like, prophetic visions and stuff like that, depending on what's happening, or if there's more of a psychic monster of the week kind of character, she's more susceptible to what they do, whereas, like, Tiger would have the ability to kind of block more mental influence. Her weapon is a baton and bow staff that can basically grow and shrink. So her whole thing is basically usually doing trip attacks to opponents and things like that. And that's pretty much everything on her. Stat-wise and stuff like that. Alright. Now, I'm going to do Wily Kit and Wily Cat together because they are always working together in tandem. So Wily Cat is the older brother. He's the more cautious one out of the two. Wily Kit's the more agile, but also more of the prankster. These two are basically the troublemaking kids out of the group. They use tricks with these capsules that do like smoke bomb, basically illusions and stuff. They also have lariats that they can tie people up with and things like that. They are also the ones that use basically they're hoverboards, and so a lot of times you'll see them flying around on these hoverboards and stuff, going into places that the Thunder Tank or and the other vehicles can't get into. They're basically more of the sneaky, cunning thief characters, basically. And then the last original character really is kind of more in the lines of what's her name? The mentor character in Jungle Fury. What am I thinking her name is? Lady. Oh, shoot. Hang on a second. Yeah, sorry.
Princess Shayla.
Yeah, Princess Shayla. So kind of in the Princess Shayla role is Jaga, who's basically kind of an Obi-Wan Kenobi spirit. Basically, Jaga was the guy who used the Sword of Omens before Lino, but he is not the Lord of the Thundercats. It's kind of a separate thing. But basically, he was, because of malfunctions to the ship and everything like that on their way from Thundera to Third Earth, he basically had to pilot it most of the way till they could get within a certain mile radius, and then basically he passed away. So he's kind of there as kind of like a Obi-Wan Kenobi kind of Jedi mind spirit thing that only Lion-O can see. usually in any of the episodes or anything. So he only interacts with Lion-O usually to tell him, to use the sword to do a certain thing to win the day, that kind of thing.
All right.
Now the other three, gotta get down here. The other three is there are 3 ThunderCats that are eventually picked up and given the rank of ThunderCats because Thunderians and ThunderCats are 2 separate things. The ThunderCats are basically like the nobility, and the nobility protects the people who are the Thunderians, basically. So these 3 characters got promoted to being ThunderCats in the 2nd, 3rd, and 4th season. The first one that's of really any note is Bengali. Now, Bengali is a white tiger, ThunderCats. He looks very similar to Tigra. He was basically a blacksmith, and he got the ability to reforge the Sword of Omens when it was broken at one point. Basically, he carries around with him a hammer called the Hammer of Thundera, and it shoots energy blasts and carries smoke pellets in the handle to allow him to cause confusion and provide withdrawal from a fight. So basically, he has like a laser blaster hammer kind of thing. Right. Linkso is is a ThunderCat that actually has a known weakness. He's basically blinded because during the escape from Third Earth, he got hit with like a hot piece of metal over the face, and his eyes got singed shut, basically. But he's basically more of he's more of a martial artist, almost to the level of Panthro. Basically, because his sense of touch is so sensitive, he basically does like pressure point fighting, and he has a sonic shield. Small little like circular disc thing on his wrist that he can basically use to mess with people's like inner ears and stuff like that. He basically while all the other ThunderCats, whenever the ThunderCat call happens, their eyes flash, his ears flash. So that's how he kind of sees the world, kind of thing. So that was kind of a little bit progressive for the time. He's also inside of the inside of the Tower of Omens. He basically operates it with a special braille board keyboard, so he can actually keep track of everything going on Third Earth with this special computer, basically. Right. Then there's Pumira. She's actually the medic of the team. Which I didn't know until doing research on this. Basically, she knows medicinal plants and things like that. Basically knows how to handle injuries and things like that. She's not as fast or as agile as the rest of the ThunderCats, but she can kind of do like a quick burst of speed thing, so it kind of looks like lightning strikes whenever she's moving around, as compared to Chitara's like line of super speed or the kittens basically doing their stuff. Now her weapon is basically a sling that she fires more of those pellet things out of, or big circular ball thing. So she basically has like a sling kind of weapon. She's the least developed character in the 1980s. Because they just threw in another girl character, basically.
Alright.
And
did I get that right? She can heal with the sling?
No, she can't heal with the sling, but she knows of like, oh no, he's hurt. Let me get the bark from this tree and this the petals from this flower, and I can mix them together and put on something, and that'll heal up this laser blast kind of thing. Like she's basically like a, kind of like a nature healer, but it actually works.
Okay.
So where was she when Linkso was blinded?
Oh, this is before she learned those skills. So, like, on Thundera, they escaped on another ship. They came to Third Earth, and her, Bengali, and Linkso basically had to live together. And on that island is where she learned about all the medicinal plants and stuff like that.
Oh, okay.
Yeah.
I thought she would have said, like, she didn't show up till, like, 3 episodes later or something.
Oh, no. It was... by the time they got to the ship and they could have done something, it was already too late to reverse the damage, kind of thing.
Mm.
Yeah. Very traumatic experience.
What are you saying, Luna?
Oh, gotta have some stakes.
Oh yeah. Oh yeah. But yeah, that's basically all of the ThunderCats.
Alrighty, so
Yeah.
all right, we'll go ahead and we'll get started unless anybody else wants to add in any last bit of information. I'll be honest with you, I think this is a pretty decent matchup after hearing everything. The ThunderCats. Oh, go ahead.
I got a couple 1 to 2 like episode abilities that they used. And by that I mean they used it literally 1 or 2 episodes. But it's technically at their disposal.
It is true. Go ahead.
So this season didn't teleport a lot, like previous seasons usually do. But they did do it twice during combat situations. The first time, where was it? Was episode. I'll find that in a minute. Just remind me. And then the Red Ranger did it in his battle with the 6 Ranger. So there's that. Let's see. So there are a couple. So even though they have bikes, they have the Savage Cycles. They don't really need them to move quick. There are several episodes where either the princess was kidnapped or they just need to run really fast and they just harness their animal abilities and they literally get on all fours and move really, really fast. It's actually pretty funny the way they did the animation for that. So that is something. And speaking of the Savage Cycle, in episode 27, the Wolf Ranger's Wolf Zord, the Wolf Ranger was getting handled basically, and the Wolf Zord wanted to help, and since they're connected via their souls, as is all the Zords with all of their corresponding Rangers, the Wolf Zord actually took control of his Savage Cycle and rammed the enemy for him, and that allowed him to get his bearing, and then he performed his finisher move that he has built in. So there's just little things like that.
Cool.
Yeah, so what I'm doing now, and again, I'm going to go ahead and say I still think this is going to be a fun matchup. So I'm looking at the Battle Wiki, and I always love the Battle Wiki because you two watched both of the franchises, and the Battle Wiki at least was correct in a lot of what y'all was saying. I will say one thing. I did not know Lionel was like 20 years old. Every time I watched him as a kid, I thought he was like in his late 30s, early 40s.
Oh no. Well, like it's really hard to tell what an age is in the animation, but like in the first one, you can tell they're trying to base him off the Wily Cat models, and then they basically moved it to like a Tigra model. So it's really hard to get like a guesstimate of the ages, but basically it's like his hibernation pod basically malfunctioned and he aged a little bit while everybody else didn't. Because part of the first episode complaining is Wily Cat going, "Oh man, I didn't get cool muscles. This is ridiculous."
Alrighty, so I think this battle is going to come down. Me personally, it's going to come down to kind of a matchup. I honestly believe Red and Lionel are going to fight off against each other because the two leaders, from if I remember correct, from their personality and how they kind of operate. And correct me if I'm wrong, you two, but I feel like those two would literally smash heads first.
Here's the odd part. I think Cole actually would try to talk things out first before it got into a fight.
Oh no!
Yeah.
One of our outcomes is already they would not fight. I mean, these two would not fight whatsoever. But we're making them fight.
The only way, if we're talking first season Lion-O, then yes, definitely. After the trials of the ThunderCats, where he actually earns his birthright, basically, he gets to be a lot less immature, like acting like a child kind of thing. So he wouldn't be the fight first, ask questions later after that season.
Oh yeah.
So yeah. So. No, but I get you. If they were going to, let's say, friendly spar,
And it's kind of the same with Cole, actually, because
Yeah.
it was one of those things. Literally in episode 1, Princess Shayla's like, "Oh, here's our newest ranger. Oh, and he's the leader now." But he's essentially a Tarzan character.
Yeah, that was actually something I was going to
literally
bring up.
Tarzan.
Is that this is basically Tarzan fan fiction?
Yeah,
the entire
he's literally Tarzan. He has the same backstory as Tarzan.
Yeah,
It's
like
brutal.
the even down to the parents dying and the one guy like pretending to be like a good friend or whatever. Yeah, it's
So
totally.
it was only a few episodes in after like interacting with Taylor, the lieutenant fighter pilot, who was the leader and was running the Rangers hard nosed until he got here, and then like she's like, "We need to do this," and he's like, "Nah, the friendship, like blah blah blah," and then finally they balance each other out.
Yeah,
so she gets a little not
and
as douchey,
and even the ThunderCats kind of get that way. Like they're all trying to teach Lino how to do things because they know that he's going to eventually go through the trials.
right.
And when he gets through the trials, he basically, the hardest trial he ever had to face was going up against Tiger, because up until that point, Tiger hadn't used any of his mental illusion making powers in any battle or anything. He'd just been saving up like all that energy. So he's sitting going, this dude's been asleep for like thousands of years. It's probably got like this, like, you know, battery the size of a small city, basically. But yeah, my only thing is about Cole is the thing that about him that I see being a disadvantage is he always tries to lead with his feelings and stuff.
But
And
not
so-
as much. So that
Yeah.
after those interactions with Taylor,
Yeah.
not as much. Yeah.
Yeah.
And if we're going height, I mean, we got the 6 Ranger now. They have all 17 Zords.
Yeah.
At this point in the season, he's about his business.
Right. The only here's my thing I want to throw into this. Out of villains that they have faced at this point, and I'm not throwing off because some of the villains in ThunderCats are kind of dumb too, but when you've got like a character like Mumra or Groon the Destroyer or even Zax and a whole bunch of other characters that are amped up magical, like just beasts that you're defeating with the group and with, you know, all this stuff. The Ords to me aren't really that good of a that much of a fight outside of the 6th Ranger for most of the season.
So we're gonna have to go between episode 36 and the finale, so that Animus isn't in the equation, because if Animarius is in the equation, it's just not fair.
I totally agree with you on that.
Yeah, he aids them throughout the whole season until episode 36, and that's when he says, "The Earth's fine. I'm out of here." Now he comes back in the finale, but that's why I said between episode 36 and the finale. So at this point, they've earned every one of their solo kills, and they've taken out generals. Generals were the new org that was introduced. So at first, the hierarchy was just minions, dukes, and master org. And then later, I'd say episode 20, the late 20s, the late episode 20s to episode 36 is when they introduced generals. And they're on master org level, because the 2 duke orgs that turn, that's actually their MO. They're like, well, let's revive this general to dispose of master org. So they're right up there on his level, and they've defeated countless generals at this point as a team, and then the Red and Wolf Ranger have soloed a general each. In fact, the Red Ranger soloed a super general.
I will say
via his,
I was gonna say I would say so do keep in mind, like I will say, and this is not knocking both universes, this is just what I particularly remember and what's the easier to kind of mindset is. Like the Power Rangers is an amazing show, don't get me wrong, but it uses a little bit of its to me uses a little bit of Toon Force in a lot of its actual fighting, which again is really cool, do not get me wrong, I still love it, and I loved it as a kid, but like it uses a little bit of Toon Force into its fighter, because I'm reading a lot of the stats on Cole, and the man has like a lot of them are saying like he has like large star level striking power. He fought alongside Tommy, Jason, and Connor, and was portrayed as their equals. You know, he has like a lot of these guys.
Red Rangers, yeah.
Yeah, like a lot of the Power Rangers is has a lot of like toon kind of force behind it, which is much different than that. And whereas like Thundercats to me is portrayed as a little bit more of a realistic battle between the fantasy versus fantasy elements
Right.
with a little bit of sci-fi mixed into it. So just keep those two in mind. But
Oh yeah.
Mhm.
again, as I'm reading, I'm dead serious, guys. I still think this is kind of a close match because Lion-O.
Oh yeah.
Oh, absolutely.
I think Lion-O is me personally. I think Lion-O's stronger than Cole in terms of his striking power. Apparently, even though the Red Ranger is apparently stronger than Lion-O, which is confusing to me because apparently he's like, oh, I could just lift a building, well, as if it's easy. However, Lion-O can apparently slash through 20 feet boulders with relatively
so
ease.
Let me. So here's where
Yeah, go ahead.
the fact that they teamed up with Time Force and we got that episode. Here's where that makes this interesting. So Cole has a battleize mode. It's the Savage, Red Savage Warrior mode. That's his battleize mode.
Okay.
And it also has a finisher. So he technically actually has two finishing moves.
So
In the
okay.
Time Force episode that they team up with, it's a two-parter. In the second part, in the final part actually of part 2, where they beat the bad guys, it's if you can find an image of it, it's really, really cool. But both teams line up, do their roll call, the sparks fly and everything. They all team up with their corresponding color and fight the bad guys. And then at the end, they do a massive group finisher. And in the center are all 3 battleized Rangers, because Time Force, the Quantum Ranger and the Red Ranger got battleized for it.
Yeah.
And if you look at the size of the blasts, his are equal to the Red and Quantum. So that makes it interesting because in Power Rangers Time Force, the Quantum Ranger soloed a giant monster by himself, no Zord, in his battleize mode.
I think it would come down honestly to the battleizer blasting and Lion-O's Sword of Omens shield.
I was gonna say I was
Right.
gonna be honest with you. The Sword of Omens, from what I'm reading, is like the kind of the piece de resistance for the Thundercats. Now,
It is the Deus Ex Machina of the series. I will say that, but it is a earned Deus Ex Machina with how powerful it is.
yeah. Now, I will say, and not knocking like anybody else. From what I've been able to find, I believe, and correct me if I'm wrong, Cheetah is the speedster on this battlefield. Yeah, I know
120 miles an hour.
I think the Power Rangers can run fast, but I don't think is it ever said how fast they could go? I know that they have like.
So they kept up with the vehicle that was that they were chasing. And their speed is based off their animal. So the Rangers definitely don't have a cheetah. Their fastest would probably be the tiger or the
Okay.
I mean, well, now we're getting into technicalities.
So they're probably looking closer to like 40 miles an hour.
Right,
No,
how fast
no,
a falcon or eagle could go.
Yeah,
how
no, and
fast it could
it's the thing. I don't want to get like in the technicality aspect of it. You're right, but I was just saying like it's easy to say that Cheetah owns the battlefield in terms of speed. So I think because I don't want to get into the fact that I don't want another battle like it was fucking last week where we're so excited for these battles and then we find out that one guy is sitting on like 2 nuclear warheads and the other guy is just like sitting with a steel
and the
sword.
other Rangers do have access to finishers because the
Oh,
White
yeah.
Ranger has his own finisher, and then they can form their jungle sword and their jungle blaster.
And and speaking of that, like 3 out of the 5 4 out of the 6 Rangers, I definitely will give you are on par with the rest of the Thundercats on fighting. Hands down, no problem. The problem is with you've got the Black Ranger and the Blue Ranger aren't really that good at their combat stuff.
Yeah, the Black Ranger's just a problem with his 2 times strength.
Now, if they were in a bowling game, I'd totally give it to Max because that's his whole thing. Because he was a professional bowler.
Right.
I'm sorry. When it comes to this, I was like, okay, we've got an Air Force pilot, we got a martial artist girl, we got an ancient, warrior, and we've got a guy who kind of goes to a flower shop and has trouble talking to a girl, and a professional bowler. I think we ran out of ideas for the last 2 guys.
So it's funny that they're the
know.
weakest because they're the ones where the going got tough. They would look at their best friends on the
Oh yeah. They were kind of
They
more
would
the
look
Bulk
at
and
each
Skull
other.
relationship more than
Kinda.
Toxina and Jindrak were. Yeah, but I'm saying on combat level alone, those are the 2 that would be an issue. Of course, you've also got Wily Kit and Wily Cat, who are children. So, you've got the size and height advantage and stuff like that, but they're also, this is all they do is fight. That's kind of their thing. Their thing is to protect and fight. They're not really built for anything else, even though they can do things like, build vehicles and, build homes and fortresses and things like that with their technology. It's not really their primary function. Their primary function is to, protect people and fight. So that would be my only, if it was more of a, like, let's say a Ninja Force season or something, I wouldn't even be bringing it up. But it's just the way these characters are portrayed. It kind of, that's a little bit of where I see a little bit of the unevenness coming in at.
All right, no, and again, I still don't think it's going to be. I'll be honest with you. When I say it's still going to be fight, I still think it's going to be like it was in the first fight. It's going to be a 51-49 style because I'm looking at it now. I think Red versus Lion-O. And I kind of see honest to God, out of the best fight scene, the one I actually want to watch, I don't care about Red versus Lion. I don't care about the rest of them. I want to see Pantro versus White, because both of them are like, I am the strongest, but I have martial arts. White's like, I know martial arts, has my own martial arts, and beat down the strongest. Like, these 2 are actually going to be the most interesting fight between the 2, because they both are martial arts artists. One is clearly stronger than the other, but the other clearly goes up against stronger opponents and beat them on the regular. So it's like, I like this fight over all of them, to be honest with you. I mean, correct me if I'm wrong, you 2, because you 2 more about the universe than I do. But I feel like those 2 would
I
have
feel
a
sorry
fight.
for anybody who ever goes up against Panthro, to be perfectly honest with you. And it's not that he's a broken character. It's just that the character is so good. You want to like go hang out with this guy at a bar, because you also want to have him as your backup in a bar fight.
Oh yeah, I have a feeling that I have a feeling that even if we were to throw these 2 at trying to effectively kill each other, I still feel like Pantro and White would more or less just come to a martial artist style agreement and just actually enjoy the fight. Because usually if you study martial arts and you get to the apex level of these 2 characters, having someone else that knows that style of martial arts and even has their own, you would bring a lot of respect to, and a lot of I enjoy this.
And Panthro possibly never running across this martial arts style. I will give the show credit. They do say she has her own family style and stuff.
It's a defensive martial arts.
And it's a defensive martial art, and most of what Panthro did was offensive. So it is a really balanced fight. Another good fight would probably be Yellow versus Tigra.
That's what I was trying to figure out who I was going to put her against. I think Yellow. Okay, I'll get that one.
Because they're more strategy and disciplined than anybody else. Plus, his whole thing is basically going invisible and using his whip as a reach fighter, basically.
The only part, I'm going to say the only part that I really hate.
Possibly he'd be a good one to match up against the Wolf Ranger in this case. Like I said, it kind of just depends on who you want to match up with who as to how it's going to go.
So the problem that I have with this is I really hate putting up Wily Kit and Wily Cat up against the Power Ranger. It's just I'm gonna take 2 kids who do shenanigans up against.
And if you want to
fight them,
who?
Yeah,
Princess Shayla could fight them.
Yeah, that could be fine. Then you just have to pick one of the other alternate 3 to throw in there to make up for the rest of the fights. I mean, the other thing is about the other 3 is outside of Linkso, the other 3 aren't necessarily the best fighters, but they also are still as strong as a regular ThunderCat, basically. So that's the other thing, is that you've got humans going up against this sort of mix of 2 separate species kind of thing as with the aliens, because I tried looking up anything that would just basically give me like a rough idea about how Thunderians basically are anatomy wise to kind of give us an idea. Couldn't really find a lot of stuff, unfortunately. It's basically, oh, they're just cat people. And I'm like, thanks, internet. Thanks a lot.
Okay, so I still have the blue and the black ranger left over, so I still got 2.
You've got well, we also have the 6th ranger as well. What's his name?
Merrick, the wolf ranger.
Yeah.
Well,
The
I have
Wolf
Derek
Ranger.
going up against Cheetah because I feel like those two would be a decent fight, especially with or not.
I think speed wise, yeah, that would probably be the best option there. I mean, I don't think anybody in this season of the show is a super speedster like character or a flyer or anything like that, really. Other than the Yellow Ranger when she has her flight suit kind of thing. Am I mistaken in that?
No, that's good.
Okay, good. So I watched Linkar's history of Power Rangers to kind of give myself a refresh on this, because I was like, which did they have those individual Ranger powers this season, or did that come later?
So it's based off like their animal power. So that's the thing about them too.
Yeah.
Like if this is a knock 'em out, drag 'em out fight, you essentially got, with the exception of the Blue Ranger who only has 2. You kind of got to beat them like 3 times because they get a boost when their animal is connected to their soul senses that they're in trouble, and it gives them a little power up. Or in the case of what we saw in episode what I say it was 27, where the Wolf Ranger's wolf literally just like AI controlled the bike and fought alongside him.
True, but there's also the ThunderCats Ho that gives everybody the
here's
boost
their
where, like,
durability as well.
and
So
like,
in episode 1, Red Ranger survives a hit from a giant org and gets moved up.
and they've also there's also on the series there is Thundranium, which is different than Thundrillium. There's 2 different elements that they run into. Thundrillium is basically what they make all their stuff out of. Thundranium is basically like a cheap kryptonite that they introduced in later seasons. But Thundranium, I think Panthro was around and the ThunderCats Ho happened, and with his eye thing, he basically broke the bonds and was able to overcome the Thundranium exhaustion. So there is a power boost also that the ThunderCats have. So it just depends on how often Lion-O can do the ThunderCat call, basically, which I think the most he's done in a fight might be 3.
So
might be.
So I have a question on how this is going to kind of effectively like the climactic battle, and this is my personal aspect of what's going up. So feel free to intervene if need be. I feel like it's going to kind of go into a little bit of a 1v1. Like everybody's going to have their specific person. You know how teams do. They'll measure each other up. They'll get in a little tuffle, and then they'll start picking out their match so they can go ahead and take out their matches and stuff like that. So I got Red versus Lion-O, Panther versus White, Yellow versus Tiger, Princess versus Kids, which is still weird to me, Derek versus Cheetah, Blue versus Linkso, and Black versus Bengali.
Bengali? Okay. Yep. Okay.
I feel like those would be a decent fight. I know, like, some of them don't match, but I do feel like even though they don't match, they kind of counter each other with their specific ability. Like Black.
I think if you switched Bengali around to Black, because Black is the strongest, Bengali's more of a physical fighter like Black, and Linkso's more of a pressure point kind of fighter kind of thing.
Okay, so you want to switch Bengali with Linkso?
Yeah, I think so. Just because I think it was more of an even, like if you're wanting to go with, especially the Black Ranger's strength is his strength, and since he's not fighting Panthro, the best one's probably the guy who basically is a blacksmith.
Yeah.
Oh, so
And
you're
his-
saying throw black against Bengali?
Yeah.
Oh, that's what he had it.
Oh, I had
That's
to.
what he had it.
Okay. Let me switch that
Okay.
back then. Yeah, I have black
Yeah, oh,
versus
sorry.
Bengali and blue versus Lynx. Oh no, you're fine. Yeah, that's what I was
Yeah.
thinking. Is like, I don't know, dude with a blacksmith feel like he might actually be able to hold his own a little bit against the strongest guy. Usually blacksmith
Oh yeah,
characters
yeah.
are
Sorry,
decent.
yeah, and plus the hammer. Out of all the weapons, I find the hammer to be one of the cooler ones out of the new bunch, because basically it's a hammer that shoots lasers.
Oh yeah.
So I mean, where can you go wrong with that?
All right. What about everybody else? Are y'all okay with this matchup? There, Knight, Roderick,
Sure.
Luna, Vengar.
Absolutely.
I won't lie. I honestly think Lino wins against Red because of the Sword of Omens.
I was gonna say now the fun part of so this is again I want three outcomes. Obviously they're not
Mhm.
fighting is not an outcome. It's obviously out there. I will say it like I usually do, but like the first and most obvious outcome. We'll get to that. What I think we should probably do is go down each individual area and think who would win in that specific versus each
Okay.
other. And kind of figure that one out, and then from there we can go ahead and say who wins the first outcome. So what I do is the first outcome is the most likely outcome, which usually goes down to like a 51-49 specific chance, because that's what we desperately try to do. Second outcome is what is more than or what unlikely event's going to happen that we think would win. In the third outcome, how the underdog could actually pull off a victory. I did that last week and I really liked it, because it still shows that yes, the underdog can still win because they do have this specific move, but still very unlikely they would still be able to pull off this outcome, but it's still there.
Okay. All right. So which fight do we want to go with first out of the grouping?
I know everybody's going to do it, but let's do Red versus
Lino. Okay.
because that one I feel like
Alright.
that one is the one that's going to kind of be the biggest deciding factor in it, because if Red defeats Lino, no power up, but if Lino defeats Red, power up, and now it's already swinging to the whoever wins this fight. I hate to say it, but probably wins the battle. Not knocking any of the other characters whatsoever.
Well, here's the thing,
What?
and this is not, correct me if I'm wrong here, if this sounds weird, but it could also exhaust both of them to where they can't help any of the other battles.
You know what? Actually, I'll agree. I'll take that one, because I do
Mhm.
feel like these two will be too exhausted to actually do anything.
I
After that.
think because
Like the rest of
I
them.
think
I
that's a
still
likely
think-
scenario. Yeah.
Yeah, I still think that it's gonna probably be like Lino wins 90% of the time. I think like the few times that I see Red winning is if Lino basically doesn't use his sword.
Or if he gets too ticked off and he quits concentrating. Yeah, I could see that happening.
Yeah,
Like he's getting
but we're gonna-
frustrated. Yeah.
Yeah, but we're going with them like kind of at their peaks.
Oh, it could still happen. I'm
No,
just
that's what I'm saying.
Yeah,
I'm saying it's
yeah.
like far less likely to happen later
Yeah, so-
on.
Mhm,
He's got his red savage warrior mode. Yeah.
mhm,
In episode 1, he tanks a hit from a giant orc when small.
mhm. Oh yeah.
He in episode 26, when he gets his red savage warrior mode, he actually deflects Master Org's he absorbs it and then deflects it back in his red savage mode. And then episode 28, he tanks blast. Well, they all do. It's not just him. They all tank blast, energy blast from a monster. And then in the finale, while they're unmorphed, they don't have powers at this instance. They're taking half attempts from a uberly powered continent buster Master Org in his ultimate form.
Don't worry, Roderick. I'm the same way.
Same.
I am the same way, Roderick.
Yeah, I didn't see this version of Power Rangers.
Well,
ever
I
going
knew
over.
I knew at least like we'd have multiple people going in having a little more knowledge than me, so I was just like, F it. I'm gonna go in blind and I'm just gonna have fun listening.
Yeah, I'm about to say, feel free to join in because I don't know. No, I thought I knew something because I remember watching the Thundercats, the Power Rangers, and it just hit me. I watched them while I was playing Halo 2. Like that's that long ago. So I was playing Halo 2 while watching the Thundercats, and I was like, that's where I remember this from. I was killing the Flood while also watching him in the jungle beat down some enemy. And in Thundercats, I remember just sitting with my grandfather watching that one. I knew nothing about either of them as much as I thought I did.
But yeah, I don't. The thing is, as much as you mentioned, Red is like super durable, and like you were saying, I can see them just both exhausting each other. But even then, I don't see Red. From everything I've heard and seen, I don't see Red really breaking Lionel's shield, his force field. If he did a big attack, I feel like Lionel would, use the force field and could wear Red down.
Okay, so I'll play devil's advocate here for a second. There is one thing that could technically knock out the sword, and that's if you attack the Eye of Thundera, the little eyeball that turns into the Thundercat symbol, the red circular thing.
Mm-hmm.
If that is hit with too much energy and stuff, it will close up and go back into dagger mode.
Yeah.
So that's
Red doesn't know to target.
No. But I'm saying if we're going with the unlikely, let's say Red is the underdog here. I'm just saying this as an example.
Yeah.
That would be the 1 in a million shot that they could turn it around. Move.
Oh yeah,
I think.
I agree. I'm just saying, I think Lionel most of the time, is going to win this. Red is stronger, in terms of destructive damage that he can do, but Lionel, that force field took freaking artillery from a freaking battleship.
Mm-hmm. And also blasts from Mumra and other characters that have very high magic power that could be similar to Master Ord or any of the other characters. It's just that's kind of hard to gauge in an animated show versus live action.
What I'm hearing from both of these, and again, Knight, feel free to interject because I'm looking at the stats now. I feel like this is just a straight on slug match between the two of them. It's almost kind of like two heavyweights are just fighting each other, and it's just again, I agree. After hearing this, I think whoever wins this battle wins the battle, but I do not think at this point in time it's going to have any effect on the actual overall outcome, because I think they're going to be too exhausted from winning their battle that they're probably just going to pass right on out, or just sit down and just not do anything else for the rest of it. The only thing is, and I'll play devil's advocate. I feel like Red would go in and try to attack, can't get through the shield, and starts to parry. I feel like he would jump back and start going more of a long range or range based attacks.
Yeah, that's what both of his finishers are.
Yeah, I feel like he is more. He would start using ranged-based attacks and trying to move around.
And also, and then Lino would just use the Sword of Omens to fly away.
Yeah.
Just kidding.
No, I mean, the thing is,
yeah. And now his Red Savage mode does give him flight as well.
Okay, so they could even be flying each other with the sword.
Oh, great. Now we're entering anime things where both the people are flying.
Here's the thing. There was one episode where the flight thing really came into play, and it's basically Lino is falling. He's trying to catch the sword, catches the sword, and the sword basically flies by the eye, center part of the hilt, and that's how he's flying. He's holding this thing like hover, flying around. So it doesn't look cool. It's as you think it does.
Yeah, no.
But it works. Yeah. That's the important part.
Well, the thing, the sword can also deflect energy. So I don't like him resorting to the shield,
And he also shoots energy with it. The shield,
except for like maybe like big attacks, like finishers, for instance.
yeah. Now, the claw shield, the actual claw thing that he uses is like a sheath for the blade. It doesn't. This is different than the actual force field that he's generating. That thing can take a laser blast, but usually he just uses it as like a way to use like the grappling hook part of it, or using it as like a thing to backhand somebody in the middle of a fight. So it's kind of like a piece of armor more so. I'm just pointing that out for that we're talking when we say shield, we need to basically make sure.
I do mean force field, yeah.
Yeah. Okay, cool. I was just wanting to make sure.
So I will say one thing though, from what it sounds, if Lion-O loses this sword, he loses this fight. From what it sounds like, that's his big thing.
It is, but there have been times where he's lost the sword that he'll use the claw shield or anything else. Like he does have ways of combat and stuff, mostly his strength that kind of comes into play. But the sword is basically the key to his fighting style, but it's also it's kind of how the whole series is based on. It's kind of like if you took the nunchucks out of Panther's hands, he's still dangerous.
Yeah.
But not as dangerous.
Yeah. Well, and that's why I said like 90 to 10.
Oh, yeah.
For Lion-O. Like Lion-O, I think is like he's a skilled fighter. He's like, especially by the end of the season, I think he is earned it, like, you know, being a skilled fighter, and he wouldn't be easy to disarm with, you know, his sword. As like by comparison, like in the beginning of the series, and you know, and so like I feel like Red could disarm him. It's possible like that, and it's not like it's a complete wash, but I still think that, you know, for the most part, Lion-O just has a lot of advantages over Red. Like, it'd still be a difficult fight, like you guys, like I was saying. It just, I don't see, like, if, you know, Red whipped out his biggest attacks, them entirely just getting over the force fields.
Well, see, that's the thing. Like, the force field's there, but I feel like Red, and correct me if I'm wrong now, I feel like Red would just keep hitting it over and over again, and also could easily use his power up to just straight up either smash it or maybe even not go through it, but probably crack it. Because again, Red does have a power up.
Yeah.
Here's a question, Knight. Did Red ever get demorphed aside from the final season finale kind of thing?
They all get demorphed throughout the thing. The cool thing about this series, though, they remorph like almost immediately. So
okay, so even if he expels all of his red morphing grid energy, still go back into his suit and start fighting almost instantaneously. Yeah. Okay.
Or the or one of his 3 animal crystals, you know, won't let him reach that low. They'll just like kick in.
Right. Okay. Yeah. As I remember a couple of demorphing sequences, that's where I was like, well, I know.
They demorph frequently in this, but like I said, most of the unless it's not their episode, and by that I mean, you know, those who've watched Power Rangers know, like, sometimes it's the Blue Rangers episode, and he's super duper strong, and everybody else is a joke, even though, you know, the Wolf and the Red Ranger have soloed 5 enemies up to this point. But
Knight's tilted on that one. I would be too.
You mean Deus Ex Machina, Lion-O flying with the hovercraft sword?
Right.
Yeah. No, never happens in ThunderCats.
Right.
Never happens in ThunderCats. Yeah.
Unless it's somebody's specific episode, if they get demorphed, it's no big deal for them to just do it again.
Okay.
Well, yeah, but like, but I still think, like, yes, he can transform, but that shield has taken some powerful attacks from like extremely powerful magic users, you know, freaking battleship artillery, you know, and so it's just I even powered up, I don't see Red.
Well, I guess the question is how many times can he use that shield? Is it can he use it as many times as he wants to, or does it have a limit?
His villains usually beat him.
Okay, well, okay, so for the first season, the way that they beat Mumra is he would basically show the metal part of the shield, and Mumra would see his face and run away like Dracula. Because that was his weakness. Then the ancient spirits of evil removed that weakness. Because they gave it to him originally. Like, that's kind of a, of course, Dick Boss move of the Millennium there. Hey, let's give our guy a weakness that we can exploit. Why? But anyway, the other thing is, and I'm going to say this because it's been brought up in articles before. So, at one point in one episode, Mumra's speaking to the ancient spirits of evil and calling on other ones that aren't normally seen or mentioned in the show. And at one point, they say Yog, Sothoth, and Cthulhu. So the ancient spirits of evil are on the level of old gods, according to this. Which I'm kind of like, I think they were just throwing that in there just as a reference for people to check out. But this is basically they have taken a lot of blasts and stuff. The force shield or force field has come up, I think, in one episode 2 or 3 times he's done it. But it's not been he takes it down after the enemies flee. Like it's got shattered or anything like that. So if it did get shattered,
it's not as rare as their teleportation.
Yeah.
I guess the next question is the shield? Now I guess we're getting into technicality now, but I feel like you have to.
Go right ahead.
So is the shield like over his body, or is it like a radius thing, or how does that work?
It completely engulfs like around him, kind of like Magneto's force bubble or electromagnetic bubble that he does. It's basically it's like that in design. So there's kind of like, if you think about it in D&D terms, it's like Autoloc's resilient sphere. It's like a sphere that covers your whole character or whoever else is in there.
Okay.
Which means it can crack, obviously, from damage if we're basing it off of those kind of rules.
All right, so since we can't get through the shield and anything else, let's take that and put that to the side. Who would win in a sword fight? Because they both have swords at this point in time. Let's go with that one because, again, if we can't go past the shield, then we'll just take the shield and we'll put it off to the side. Because they both have swords, and I believe the Red Ranger has his own sword, correct? Other than the Crystal Saber?
No, so he mostly fights with his cannon.
The Falcon Bow?
The Red Lion Fang. So that's a melee weapon. It's basically like a fist, like the lion's head over his fist. But it has it can elongate into a cannon.
Okay.
So basically, it has its own claw shield, but it has a gun function, basically.
Right.
Okay. Alright, so I still think that would be melee.
Yeah.
Okay, cool.
Yeah.
That would still be melee. So I feel like who at this point in time would have been in a melee? Because again, I feel like at this point in time, Red Ranger gets to a distance, shield comes up.
Well. So now his teleportation would probably be a huge factor.
Mm-hmm. The thing with teleporting villains, I'm trying to think if he actually ran into any of them in the show, and that's kind of getting into specific episodes. Because most of the times, whenever anybody did teleportation or anything like that, it was just to like speed things up more so than actually like be in a combat situation. With his slight danger sense, he might be able to tell if it shows up, but I don't think it would be, because it's not as developed as like Chitara's is, if that makes sense, from everything that I've read. So yeah, the teleportation would work, but there still might be a couple of chances that Lino might predict where something's going to happen at. So
it's also I think the teleportation would come into play. I'm not seeing a reaction speed for Lino, so I don't think he goes up to anyone who's like can teleport. So I agree with you on that one. However, he can still take a hit. So I think the cannon.
It depends if he's using his sight beyond sight power, because that's different than the danger sense.
Yeah.
Now, if he's doing that, but he also has to focus to do that. So that's also a thing where it takes time. So
I feel like
Yeah.
the danger sense doesn't like outright make the teleportation useless, but it does help him against it, probably, by the way it sounds like.
Yeah, instead of it being like 100% effective, it would make it more like 60% effective, if that makes sense.
But I would feel like
Yeah.
probably by the way it sounds, Red, from everything it sounds like, is like obviously more of like a bestial savage fighter. You know,
Yeah.
fighting with his hands, kind of more so. Having a savage mode and everything like that too. Like it sounds like he's kind of more feral as a fighter, less trained by comparison.
Yeah.
So I would probably say, you know, Lino might have an advantage as far as that goes, because Lino, it goes through a lot of training to, you know, not just he will use the Sword of Omen, but also how to fight.
So
Like, he's
I
gonna-
will say one thing about this though. I will say me personally, I do give the edge to a hand-to-hand combat. I would have to give it to Red, and the only reason why is even if you took the teleportation out, it comes down to who has the most battle experience in like face-to-face style of combat. Correct me if I'm wrong, but Lion-O never really went up against someone who's like in their face, keeping up to his specific level. Correct?
Yeah.
Oh, he did. Okay.
Well, technically, he's done that where he's fought Groon the Destroyer. Now, Mumra, like with the Sword of Plundar, is a little bit different because Mumra always has the magic thing, and he's very much a distance fighter.
See, yeah, that's what I was confused because
Yeah.
like their big bad is Mumra, and he usually like shoots from a distance and does
Well,
his
with
traps and
lasers, when
stuff.
he has the Sword of Plundar later, he can fight him one-on-one with a double-bladed blade, basically. Eat that, Darth Maul. But anyway, but he has fought many people, including a Hachiman, who was somebody that Jaga trained that ended up on Third Earth. That's kind of a samurai character. So he has had fights
Okay,
where he
alright.
has fought people that also have swords and can do stuff. An actual like savage fighter would probably be the closest fight would be Groon the Destroyer, when he's possessing somebody else. Because Groon was basically this savage, crazy guy. ThunderCat, basically. Saber-tooth tiger kind of character. The thing is the way Cole fights in the show is mostly he just runs in and punches shit. For a lot of his fights. But at the same time, this is also at the height of things, so he may, this is when he actually knows what he's doing, so it could go either way.
See, that's the problem is
Yeah.
this one fight is like I don't know who's going to win. I mean, they both have their specific things. Lion-O throws up a shield, Red can teleport behind, and then Lion-O figures it out, turns, and then fight continues and stuff like that. So it's like I don't know who would specifically win this one.
I do kind of want to say though, I feel like Lion-O can eat Red's punches a little bit better, I feel like probably, than Red could handle getting cut by the Sword of Omens. Because it can cut through like steel with ease. And I don't know if like Red's suit is stronger than steel.
Apparently, he has a specific style of armor that's not steel, so it's its own style of armor. I don't even know.
When he's in savage mode, when he's in savage mode, the wings can fold over and be a shield as well.
Yeah, well, he has with Falcon Summoner, Lion Blaster, Numerium. I can't even pronounce this stupid armor. I'm gonna put it in the Twitter chat.
Oh, it's a hold on.
That whatever that is. Yeah.
Yeah, that's the armor that puts him in Red Savage Warrior mode.
Okay, so
The Animarium armor.
at this point in time, I don't know who would win this fight. I guess what we could do is I hate to say it, but I have an idea. Roderick, Luna,
Honestly,
and
you
Vingar.
could call it a 50-50.
Yeah. What do y'all think?
Like,
I'm swinging
I
50-50.
I would honestly be okay with calling the fight a 50-50 fight, and then determining like the fights from like the rest of the team.
All right, we'll do that.
Yeah, I can accept that.
Because I don't know. I mean, they both have their specific small things. Sorry. The next.
I was leaning a little bit more towards Lino, but
Well, I would also
but
want to
after
point out
reading about it-
one of the things I figured out about Lino as well is, I don't know, like one thing I kind of remember, and please correct me if I'm wrong, but like he had a tendency to jump in situations where like, irregardless of the consequences, irregardless if it was a good or bad sort of thing, he would always jump in because even though his heart is in the right place, the strategy was not there.
In the beginning of the show, you are correct.
Yeah.
But since we've mentioned this is at the height of everybody's powers and stuff like that, like I'm excluding the finale of the show, which is when he goes into the Book of Omens and basically goes on a hero's journey to learn how to be the most excellent warrior, the best strategist, that kind of thing. And that's where the show ends on, is him going on that quest.
Right.
So at the height of his abilities during the 4 seasons of the show, or first 4 parts of it that they separated into seasons and stuff like that.
So we're excluding something that would give him more of an advantage.
Yeah, exactly. This is he got less like that when they introduced other characters who would take over that role. Usually, Snarf and his nephew would do that more often, or it would be
he would learn from his
Yeah,
mistakes.
he exactly the same way Cole does during the show to a degree.
Yeah.
So it's kind of one of those things of, if we were going first episode versus first episode, oh yeah, totally.
Yeah.
But
That's
yeah,
why I think I'm
gotcha.
just going to leave it as a 50-50, and y'all right on that one.
Yeah, we're excluding the finale of Power Rangers as well.
Yes.
exactly.
Like we're excluding some stuff on both sides that make this
We're
fight.
excluding
look-
the 100 Zords
Out of
flying through the
curiosity,
sky.
I could look it up, but I feel like one of y'all already know. How many episodes was that ThunderCats?
We'll look it up here for you.
Listen to
I've got
5
it in a-
seasons, 12 episodes each.
I feel
hang
pretty
on.
good on a 50-50 because this season only had 40 episodes.
Season 1 had. Let's see.
I mean, I feel like it's okay for us to like remove the.
Season 1 had 65.
Yeah,
Season 2
I
had
agree.
25. 3 and 4
Oh,
had
yeah.
20. So it had over
Way more
110
development,
episodes.
I mean,
110 episodes, yeah.
Here's an equivalent night. Like last episode when we were talking about Anos VS and Rimuru, we kept having to go back and be like, all right, so excluding this. Oh, I found a new thing. Okay, excluding that as well. Oh, I found a new thing. Excluding that as well.
Right.
What else are you gonna find out of nowhere, Roderick? Hold on, I found this as well. Okay, take that out.
Yeah, Tempest was at the end of that fight. Tempest was the most upset out of all of us because Tempest was like, "Why do we have to give this character more overpowered bullshit?"
No, I'm.
It's a total of 130 episodes. Actually,
yeah,
so,
to 40 episodes on WoW 4, so I will absolutely live with a 50-50.
Oh yeah.
yeah.
I feel like Vaughn would say I did a good job.
I think you've done a better job of defending Saban's decisions than anybody else, including Saban. He would be like, "Guys, this is a TV show. What the hell are you doing?"
By the way, I made Tempest upset, or not Tempest upset, but Tempest quickly came. It was so stupid. He doesn't need all that shit. Oh, all right. So I have to give it 50-50 on these two. They're both skilled fighters. I don't see. Even if I would say this again, I agree. Even if they are, even if one wins at that point in time, you are right. They are so depleted that it does not affect the actual outcome of the battle.
Oh yeah, it'd be a high difficulty fight.
Let's call this what this is. This is the DC versus Marvel tie that creates the Amaglam universe where Thunder Rangers or Power Cats. Either way.
All right, so down to the next or equally difficult figuring out because the rest of them get a little bit easier than this. Pantro versus White.
Okay.
The skilled martial artist versus the skilled martial artist.
So the white tiger gets the bat Zord and Panthro runs away. I kid.
When you said runs away, I just pictured him turning around. Whoop, 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 whoop.
Yeah, pretty much. So here's the thing. Panther does lose his temper from time to time, but most of the time during a fight, he's calm, depending on the situation. So, I mean...
Let me interrupt. I don't think he's going to lose his temper on this one. I firmly believe that from what I remember from the White Ranger, she doesn't... Correct me if I'm wrong, Knight. She doesn't really... She's not sassy. She doesn't...
No, she's a Girl Scout basically. She's not actually.
Yeah.
Okay, but that's why I'm saying. But that's why I'm saying. I think Panther's emotions might get the better of him during the fight. Out of comparing between the two characters, I don't see her losing her temper or something during the fight.
Well,
but there are episodes where Panther does.
She's
Yeah.
also, I don't know how much bearing you'll have, but she's also the most scholarly intelligent of the team.
Mhm.
She's the only one like currently in a university. After the end of the season, she actually becomes a teacher, and it turns out she was narrating this whole season.
Oh yeah.
So,
then again, we also had
she's smart
Panthro.
as well.
Yeah, Panthro's a mechanic, and
Yeah,
pilot.
I don't know how much bearing you'll have.
Yeah, I'd put him on the same level of intelligence probably on that.
I'm about to say, I think they're both. That's why I kind of put them together. They both sound very
Yeah.
intelligent, and they both, again, martial
Yeah.
arts. The strength and durability. It comes. Strength is out of the question because again, White goes up against someone much stronger than.
She
her.
spars against Black 40 times while Blue was helping him.
So, what kind of weapons does White have again? I'm just wanting to remember this.
Hey, hold on one second.
Yeah, because I've got Panthro's weapon stats pulled up here.
Oh, she has the crystal saber, as they all do.
Okay, so there's the
then-
sword.
then
Okay.
Then she has the white tiger baton and the
Okay.
deer clicker, which it kind of can do a few things. She's only used it like 2 or 3 times.
Mhm.
So it can essentially it can dispel things.
Okay.
But they only use it for that, like in Megazord mode. But
Okay.
it's the same piece of like the Megazord of the antlers.
Okay. Mhm. He's in type.
And you can shoot it at folks to kind of oh crap, what's that the Batman does? He can shoot it and it goes around your legs and crap, and it's
Grapple.
bolo?
It's okay. It's like a bolo. Okay.
yeah, it can
Okay.
restrain them. So that's what the antlers
Okay.
do.
Okay.
Or you can just hit people with it.
Okay. Kind of like a BAFTA from the Klingons a little bit because it's antlers. I think.
I'm sorry. I'm just picturing you could wrap around your legs, or I could just hit you with it, whichever you prefer.
That needs to go on a T-shirt for this podcast.
Keep in mind her animals, because these are her. She's connected to the soul. With these animals are the white tiger, obviously, the elephant. So there's your intelligence, and then the deer. So
Right.
That's kind of like her poise and whatnot.
Okay. Would you say the antlers kind of look a little bit like a BAFTA from a Klingon blade kind of thing? I'm just trying to remember what these things
I
kind
gotta
of
Google
look
that
like.
because I'm drawing a blank on that, and I know I
Okay.
shouldn't.
Well, while you're doing that, so the spikes that are on Panthro's uniform can shoot out and hit somebody if they need to. So he does have a bit of a reach weapon there, but mostly he uses the nunchucks that do like fire and ice, but they're chemical like shooting things. If that makes sense. So it's a liquid thing that he's actually shooting, and he also uses ball bearings with the nunchucka.
Warfare's against the Geneva Convention. This is
The ThunderCats don't believe in the Geneva Convention.
Geneva Convention's not real there. They go around.
Plus, New Thundera exploded, so technically they don't have to follow the Geneva Convention. They're on Third Earth. They're settlers. They don't have to listen to this. Third Earth never signed it. I'm just kidding. But the other thing is, with his fighting style and things like that. See, I'm really glad we didn't go with the 2011 version because he lost his arms and he had robot arms, because then that would be an interesting fight here. But most of his things is when it comes to fighting and stuff like that. He'll try to outstrengthen an opponent, but if he doesn't like have the ability to physically move something, he'll start judo tossing people. Which is hilarious to watch. Suddenly you see the monkey and flipping over and off of a cliff.
Yeah,
Have
that'd
fun,
be
guys.
interesting.
Yeah.
Because obviously he'd be able to pick her up, but her
Yeah.
style is defensive. So
Yeah, this is the thing.
that would be interesting.
He is the most offensive, and I mean that as a combat point of view, not an odor. Most offensive Thundercat.
So like a defensive style of fighting versus an offensive style
Yeah,
of fighting.
and strength-wise, he is the Thundercat during the leadership trials for Lion-O. He was the one who did the trial of strength. Lion-O had to best him in basically a physical wrestling match. So if he gets his arms wrapped around White Tiger, I think that's where his strength comes into play as more of an advantage.
So it kind of
Either that or him picking up boulders and chucking them at her if he
Right.
wants to, you know.
It's definitely good that she has experience. 40 confirmed wins over the.
Oh yeah,
Wow, he has distance,
yeah. But that's what I'm saying. This one is mainly you've got an offensive fighter versus a defensive fighter. So I mean, it really just depends on the
How old is Panthro?
He's late 20s. Maybe he's next to Linkso. I think he's the oldest, or maybe Tigra is. They're probably like late 20s, early 30s.
Okay,
maybe.
so he's not like a lot older than.
No. He's Linkso's the oldest one. I'd say either Tigra or Panthro or maybe Bengali. They're probably all about the same age. Those three.
Okay, so most of them are like late 20s at most.
Yeah, like Lion-O gets aged to their body style, which I assume is from how Thundercats draws bodies. The older they get, that's when they start getting like the tubby gut and stuff like that. That's more for the mutants, though. I feel like the mutants are actually a lot older than the main mutants are older than the Thundercats are by the way they're designed. But excuse me, I'd say probably 20 to 30 or so.
Okay, so
maybe 40 at the most.
Okay, so without assuming, highballing his age, they're relatively the same age too, and so likely probably have relatively similar levels of experience when it comes to their martial arts.
Yeah. Let's see.
Alyssa is young. She's she's attending a university.
Yeah.
So like early 20s at
yeah. The only other thing that it brings up here about Panther's fighting styles, he does follow the Thundercats warrior code, which is basically made up of this quote: "Pride, excellence, and loyalty are the hallmark of a warrior." So that's it's basically the same kind of mindset with
was Panthro in the in the army for
he's basically so if the Thundercats are all royalty, he would probably be the master of arms in the royal palace kind of character.
No, I'm saying before their home world was destroyed, was he in the actively in some form of military?
So how the show sets up the Thundercats is the Thundercats are the nobility, but they're also the warrior class. They are the fighter. They are the guys that defend people against the mutants and things like that. So he's kind of basically he's the most versatile fighter out of the group. So I'd say he would be the master of arms if you had a military nobility thing. He's the guy that you basically go, I need somebody taken out. You go.
Okay.
Now this is in the 1980 version. In the 2011 version, a lot more. He was he was one of the generals, but he has more of a thing with Grun the Destroyer in this one. It's kind of weird, but basically he's more of a gladiator fighter too in that one. So I mean, but the 1980s series was a lot less thick with those things, if that makes sense. But basically he's kind of the go-to fighter of the group. Trying to see if there's anything here that goes against anything else here.
So if he has more experience, it'd be maybe a couple years. At best, probably.
Yeah, I'd say. Because I'm trying to see. No, there's nothing really. There's nothing. Yeah, there's nothing really that gives him a full age thing other than he looks to be in his 20s to 30s, according to what the thing says here. So,
yeah.
I couldn't find anything to dispute it. I'll put it that way. Excuse me a second. Yeah, that's pretty much it. I can't find anything else that gives him like an age or anything.
Yeah. Is there anything that says like how many styles of martial arts either of them know? Or is it more of like they have their own unique special styles of martial arts?
She actually becomes a master during a fight. In one of the episodes, but it's her family's martial art style, the White Tiger style.
It doesn't say what kind of martial arts that he does, other than he does martial arts.
Okay.
So I'm assuming if we're going by 1980 version of this, I'd say probably more of a karate kind of kung fu / judo kind of fighting. So I've seen him use all three kind of in the cartoon.
But it could also just be like, in a sense, his own style.
Yeah. But it's more offensive than defensive, if that makes sense. So that's where we're running into the confusion at, I guess.
Yeah. Honestly, this one I also don't really see a clear winner on. Like, maybe I can see a slight lean towards Panthro, given, Thundercat, powerful, strong.
So since we brought it up, I hate to keep using this, but since we did bring it up and it played effect in the 50-50 Red Ranger fight, all 6 Rangers have teleportation.
That is true. That could be useful in this fight, especially if you got in too close and like grappled her.
Yeah, I could see her actually like utilizing it more. Like,
yeah, with her intelligence and defensive style. Like, I'm gonna be honest, I don't think it's gonna matter in the Blue Ranger fight. I think he's in trouble. But I think
unless it's in a bowling alley. Unless it's in a bowling alley.
Yeah, I think with her specifically, and maybe the Yellow Ranger will probably really be able to utilize that.
Yeah. No, I think Panthro could kind of catch on to what she's doing. So, but I do think, like, in her case especially, it would give her more of an advantage than, like, Red versus Lino. But then also, like, freaking Panthro, his thing does, like, fire and ice. And I could see him, like, his nunchucks doing fire and ice. And I could see him also doing a lot more of, like, crowd control. Making it to where, like, she has less room to teleport safely to, kind of thing, as well. Especially, like, if she does it a lot.
Yeah. I don't think she'd do it too much, just as smart as she is.
Yeah, that's what I'm saying. So,
I
like,
think she would wait for a clutch moment.
Yeah.
And what was her name again?
Alyssa? Alyssa Inrile.
Why did I get Taylor from? Oh, that was Yellow Ranger. Duh, I'm looking at
That's
the White
Yellow
Ranger.
Taylor Earhart.
Oh no, Luna Roderick, what do you guys think?
I came
Are
back from
they
the bathroom.
alive?
I came back from the bathroom at the worst time.
Oh, so did I.
Alright, there's nothing on a lot of these characters in the Battle Wiki, so I'm going based off of what you all are telling me.
Yeah, unless you're the leader or the sixth ranger, they don't.
Yeah, they don't
post
really
a
keep
lot.
track of you of anything. There's no Thundercats and there's no other Power Rangers in that wiki. All right, cool.
Is the White Ranger's like she relatively like durable too, or like is she don't take quite a beating like the Red Ranger?
Yeah,
So,
they,
yeah.
with the exception of the few times, like so when he redirected the energy blast and all that, that was all his animarium armor. But all the other instances of tanking hits from a giant monster, they're all the same in that aspect.
Okay, so Panthro could probably get some hits off on her, but even then, it won't like he couldn't just get like one hit that would immediately debilitate her. Most
Yeah,
likely.
It would be tough, yeah.
But then at the same time, I don't like I feel like with the the Thundercats, they're all pretty durable as well. So I don't see too many options where like
I see that this isn't going to be like a. I don't feel like this battle is going to be like a defeated battle, like a fight to the death. I feel like this battle will more or less be decided on. Let me hear. I think Pantro could win by knockout or straight up kill. I'll be honest with you.
The only time I know that Panther gets a power up is, like I said, when he does the Thundercats hoe thing, and he gets like a boost to his strength. So unless that goes off during the fight, that could possibly influence it. But that's the only other thing I could think of. But like we said, the Rangers all have their animal reaction stuff too. So
I think Pantro could win by either knockout or kill. I believe that the White Ranger could win by knockout or subdue.
Yeah,
So
like a teleport and then use her deer little grapple thing.
Yeah, like keep that in mind. Like it doesn't have to be straight up like kill shot or anything. It could just be some sort of subduction, or subduing. That's why I'm kind of leaning towards the White Ranger, in the sense that she can.
sorry, you said subduction, and my brain went somewhere else. And I'm like, what kind of battle do you think's happening
She's not
here?
that type of person.
I mean,
She's a good girl.
To be fair, it is a white tiger, and this is Panthro, and he is sexy as all get out. So maybe this could be the romance that spawns from this cross. I'm just kidding.
But I personally will give it to the White Ranger, because again, she doesn't have to win by a knockout or a kill shot. And I feel like
she's used to fighting a ranger that has enhanced strength to begin with, so she's kind of more used to dealing with.
Yeah.
Whereas Panther is not really used to fighting somebody who's on his level of martial arts, so that could throw him a little bit too.
And as you said, that the more angrier Pantro gets, the less.
It's more from like people doing pranks and stuff. So maybe from the cheesy one-liners that the Power Rangers always do. The fact that they have to move their hands and talk, and he's like, "What is wrong with you people?"
I could see that.
That might do it. Yeah, that might do that there.
However,
right from the start, when they morph and do their roll call, he's gonna be pissed.
Why are we just standing here?
I do think it's going to be a 60-40 win. I think she has, she wins 60% of the time, where he probably wins 40, because again, they are still skilled martial artists.
Yeah.
It could go both ways, but I do feel like the white race. Me personally, again, if you disagree, let me know. But I feel like that would be more or less the outcome in this one.
I can see that. I can agree with that one.
Alrighty. Yellow versus Tigra.
Yep.
I have no idea who wins this one. Like,
which one's Tiger again? What's her
He's the
ability?
one. He's the one with the whip, and he does kind of the invisibility, mental powers thing. He's the tiger.
wait a minute. Temper says I think he's gonna win because he's gonna slap them while they're transforming.
That actually happens a lot quicker than the show makes it out to be.
We know,
but it's just a funny
It's a
one.
long-standing joke of the Sailor Moon transformation. We're watching them do this and going 5-10 minutes have passed. When are they gonna get done? I don't know. Do we have to be polite the whole time?
No, the best ones that always does it is Dragon Ball. Dragon Ball sitting there
Mhm.
screaming. It's like,
Oh yeah.
you could have killed him now. You could have killed him now.
Well, with Vegeta, you just have to ask him.
Yeah. Not wrong.
My arms! Darn you, vile woman. Okay.
All right.
This one I kind of would probably give to Tigra. Just because, in worst case scenario, mindfuck psychic shit, he could, just whip that out and probably take the fight a little easier on this one.
Plus, the Yellow Ranger does have a lot more emotional baggage than everybody else on the team.
Okay.
So Mind Reader versus Daddy Issues.
Nah, she doesn't have family issues. She's been the ranger the longest out of the team. So for a whole year, it was just her.
Didn't she didn't she have something happen during her military service that kind of?
No, she discovered Animarius. And,
Okay.
Yeah,
Wait, I'm thinking of a different Yellow Ranger, and that's what's happening. Okay, don't worry about it. Yeah.
She was flying up there and discovered Animarius, and that's when Princess Shayla was like, "Hey, you're the Yellow Ranger. You're the only Ranger. Hell."
Yep.
Okay.
And so for a whole year, it was just her.
So she's got some emotional baggage of being like the only Ranger.
No, she's kind of the one that's trained everybody. She's
I will say that
other than
gives
the
her a lot more
resentment
experience.
about being replaced as the leader, probably that would probably
not
be
at
her
this
only.
point.
Yeah.
Not at this point. 'cause
Not at
remember
this
we
point.
said-
Yeah.
We're around episode 36 at
Yeah.
height of their power minus their.
So they're gonna have to go into a swimming match so she can see Tiger at all time.
Oh yeah, he can also go invisible.
Yeah.
They have fought a ninja enemy that could go invisible. So she does have some experience.
Mm-hmm.
Oh well, she also has wings, so she can fly. So I go invisible, I fly.
Mm-hmm. What other weapons does the Yellow Ranger have there?
So Crystal Saber, we know the Golden Eagle Sword. So she's the only one who could potentially dual wield.
Okay.
The Armadillo Puck, which it's silly. It's not going to come into effect.
Well, no. What does it do? What does it do? Let's be
an
fair
armadillo that turns into a puck.
So it's like a hockey puck.
Yeah, and then they can. Yeah, it does massive damage if it connects. But
okay.
And then feather darts.
Can you repeat that again?
Feather
darts. So dart like
okay.
Your typical bird anime character.
Okay.
With their feathers.
Oh,
And then
okay.
Her animals are the eagle, the black bear, and the polar bear. The polar bear was ice, and the black bear is fire.
Okay.
Can Tigra, what can Tigra do with their mental powers?
Let's see. During the trials, he changed the environment around to where Lino thought he was somewhere else, like in the snow or something like that, I think.
Like an illusion, or actually?
Yeah. Oh, yeah. No. Like to the person who he's fighting, he basically created an illusion. The person would have to dispel with their mind, kind of thing. He's also an architect mainly. Like that's kind of one of his main functions from the pre Third Earth journey kind of thing. So he really takes into the notice of the background and like where he's fighting at in any of the fights that he has with the mutants and stuff where he goes invisible or does whatever he does with his whip. He's always looking around to see for like a good vantage point and stuff like that. So if you want to say sniperish kind of character, that's probably out of the
He
group.
make people see like what they believe is him while he remains invisible, like create an illusion of himself.
I
But
don't
I
think
do.
they did that in the show, but I don't see why he couldn't make you think that one himself. Wait, no, he did do something like that one time. He did trick one of the mutants to attack an illusion. But he's
Okay.
only done it like it's one of those one-off episode things
Right.
that I don't think anybody else remembered.
They did fight the one ninja that did that same thing.
Yeah,
So that could be a wash.
could be.
All right, let me
I w-
interrupt right fast. Roderick, Sailor Moon is on a totally different power level. Like,
Yeah,
if-
I was reading into her yesterday because I was just like, dude, I gotta find out recommendations for the next one. She has it's actually insane. She has cosmic level powers.
yeah, at her
ridiculous.
peak, she can just
She's like
wipe
Silver
the
Surfer.
universe.
Yep,
Right.
yep.
Man, I was just like, dude, I'm so hype. I could do like an Ichigo versus Sailor Moon. No, she'll stop time, shift reality, and change it so where he has no powers. What?
That's
what
what
do
you
that's
want,
just-
did.
That's just Sailor Pluto, right?
That's perfect. That's exactly just what Yuhabak did.
it was just like, bro, no, I mean, like her powers transcend like anything.
Yeah, no, she
in
is
both Bleach
te-
and Naruto universes.
she is technically one of the most broken anime characters that have ever existed.
Yeah, when Goku's a little bit more balanced than you, there's a problem.
Anyways, sorry.
I say that with with love
we
to
say
both
that
series.
we say that looking back at like Anos Vault Gold.
She beats
Yeah.
him.
Anos beats freaking Goku too.
Yeah, but I say like she beats him. Like that's the thing. She gets stupidly broken.
I mean, she's had so many seasons that, like, realistically, at one point they were like, yeah, she just has everything.
Yeah.
Mhm.
Anyway, sorry.
She was-
Let's
She was
see.
the OG.
So-
broken-
There is
Yeah.
one thing I will say. Part of the way that Lion-O outsmarted Tigra to beat him in the trial of intellect was that he literally to wait until Tigra had exhausted his mental powers before he was able to get a shot in on it. He had to outsmart him basically at that point, which is very hard to do.
This one I kind of would probably hand to Tigra more so because he just has so much more options on his table. Like a 75-25, I feel like in his favor.
I think if Yellow had more of a ranged attack, that might actually be more effective to deal with Tigra.
More of a what?
If that makes sense. More of a ranged weapon. Yeah.
Besides the darts.
Yeah. I don't see the feather darts actually being that big of a thing, if I remember correctly how they work in the show, because
If
he's
the
doing-
one from Devil May Cry that exploded, that'd be cool. But
yeah.
Well, sparks do fly when they hit you.
Mm. I'm
Sid
saying
is
more
cat
like
fur.
if she had like if she had a blaster, or if she was like the one guy from the rescue ranger thing.
give her a Boltor and then
Yeah.
maybe a fair fight.
Yeah, give her a crossbow or something, that kind of. I don't know.
The thing
She's
is,
also
oh, go ahead.
She's had military training, but Tiger's
I was
also
gonna
had
say she's
training.
a fighter pilot. Yeah.
Yeah, but Tiger's also from the clan of he's also from the clan of ThunderCats, which is basically he was born in or so than anybody else does in their in from their old planet. So it just kind of depends.
Now, I'm not saying I don't think Yellow's dumb by any means.
Oh no.
But I
Not at
think that like Tigra is, by the way it sounds, he's just that fucking smart.
Yeah.
Yeah, and they're both the second in command, so I mean, both
Yeah,
of them
oh, yeah.
have their good points as well. So I mean,
I'm gonna be honest with you.
We don't know how she was having to win those fights that whole year, which it was just her.
mhm.
I'm kind of thinking like maybe 60-40 in favor of Tigra.
It was just I feel like Tiger with like his mind abilities.
Well, yeah, he does have mind abilities, but the problem is that he has to capitalize on them and fast, or else when they run out, then she's going to win.
Well, but I think he could capitalize. Like I think in this case, in this scenario, it's a lot easier for him to capitalize on them by comparison to like say Panthro capitalizing on anything against White or Lino capitalizing on anything against Red.
Yeah, I
For
guess.
instance, like Tigra has his whip, which he doesn't have to be up close in her face kind of thing. He can be a little further back too.
Yeah. Or if the Eagle Zord wants to intervene in the form of her bike.
Well, for throwing vehicles in there, the Thunder Tank's gonna take out any bike. I'm sorry.
Well, no, I'm saying that I mean, they do
Oh, no,
have
I'm
the,
just-
yeah, the Zords are sentient and they can like AI control their bikes.
Yeah, but like I said, I do think Tiger would probably win the fight only because the invisibility would throw her off and he could go ahead and do a quick move. But I still don't think it's going to be like. I don't think it would be like a high number up there because again, she does have a lot of battle experience, more so than any of the other rangers at that point in time. So I still think even if we bumped it up like 65-35, again, I still think she wins 35% of the time, based off of being able to kind of get out of there and immediately going to the air.
I'll be back in just 1 second.
All right.
Yep.
Okay.
Y'all okay with that one or?
Yeah, I see what you mean. Like she's probably the best matchup against him. He's kind of broken.
Well, I mean, like I
Outside,
said,
like,
I'll give you that. The invisibility and the whip would be really, could be a good fast acting and quick knockout. However, again, I still think that she still has the possibility of scrubbing out some victories because again, she just could easily deflect, miss, and just get into the air, and then now he has to kind of run.
And you essentially got to knock her out 3 times.
Yeah.
With her because she's got 3 animals.
Yeah, so again, I give it a 65-40 or 65-35. Or yeah, 65. There it is. Duh. I'm gonna give it to the princess. I mean, I know the kids are cool, but
So I know I didn't go into her abilities because we kind of threw her in, but this actually surprised me. I didn't remember this from the series until I just watched it today. Episode 36. Yeah, they try to kidnap her because kidnap the princess never goes wrong. And they send a Duke Org, which is above your typical everyday monster that they fight every episode, and she defends herself. She's 3,000 years old as well, and yeah, I was surprised. She handled herself very well.
yeah, that's why I kind of give it to her over the kids. I mean, the kids are
And
cool.
she does teleport every episode,
Yeah.
whereas the others only do it occasionally.
Okay, so we're gonna move on from that one. So Derek versus Cheetah.
Which one's Derek?
Derek is the Luna Wolf Ranger.
Oh, so he is he's the 6th Ranger, so he's the other badass on the team. He has 5 confirmed monster kills. One of them is a general, and he has his own finishing move. He doesn't have to rely on them to form a 5-part weapon. And he's the one. Yeah, I referenced. They fought that invisible ninja. So he's the one who actually defeated the invisible ninja. He was able to use his wolf senses to kind of hear him, so to speak, and then blasted him because his Q. I'm gonna get the name right. His lunar Q can turn into a sword or a blaster.
Okay.
And he has the wolf, the hammerhead, and the alligator, all predators. When the three of them form his Megazord, it's called the Predazord.
Okay.
Again, Megazords aren't to effect, but that's the abilities he gains from those animals.
So
He's a hunter. He's a hunter.
I went for John, but I do feel like Derek wins this one not pretty easily, but they both have 6th sense, so I feel like this would be a very long battle, but not a very.
Cheetah has the speed advantage on it.
Well,
too,
she does
I
have a
think.
speed, but the thing is, I don't know how long. I believe she cannot sustain it for long periods of time.
Also factor in he's the 6th ranger, so for like 5 episodes he was handling all 5 of the other rangers. Now granted, Red Ranger didn't have his final power-ups. That would have absolutely came into effect, but he was handling the other 5 rangers for a period of time. 2 of which have faster animals than he does, so he can handle fighting multiple enemies who are faster.
Well, but say I think the speed is what gives Cheetah not a complete and utter defeat. I'll be honest with you. But like I said, I'll wait for John to get back because I don't know too much about Cheetah. I can't find anything on the wiki for her. But I do know that she's fast. I do know she's cunning, and she has battle sense. They both have, from what I can see, battle senses. So it's literally going to be, I shoot, you dodge, you shoot, I dodge, and it's going to be kind of like one of those types of things.
Just like a Matrix gunfight.
Yeah, I mean it's a little, and I could feel like even if you put them in the jungle, this fight is going to be probably one of the longest ones because again, it's going to be him hunting her doing counters. And then him countering, and then her going back into the woods, and then rinse, repeat.
I have returned.
Okay, so we're doing. I hope you don't mind. Princess wins against the kids. We're moving to Derek versus Cheetah.
I'm kind of okay. Yeah,
I mean,
I'm okay with that.
The kids are cool. Don't get me wrong. They weren't really ever made to actually fight, other than just doing shenanigans and then running back to some. If I remember correctly,
I honestly think the princess would be more used by them and try to get them to like hang out with the animals and just watch everybody else fight instead. And the kids would probably be like, okay.
Yeah, I feel like that would fight.
She can end up babysitting.
Or get into shenanigans with each other.
Well, if all these battles are happening
Maybe shooting.
simultaneously, she would actually probably try to end it quick because usually during their fights, she's kind of like Obi-Wan Kenobi in them. Like, hey, like, do this. Like, I noticed they're doing this, so do this. She can.
But those two could distract her long enough to where she's not doing that.
Well, that's
so.
what I'm saying. That's why I think she goes
Yeah.
for the kill, or not. Sorry, not the kill, but she goes for the win.
You just gotta kill the kids.
I said, damn, Princess is cold blooded.
Kill the kids.
I'm
Fuck
3,000
these
years
humans.
old. I don't have time for this.
Kill the kid. Fuck this. We're saving the animals.
I'm 3,000 years old. I don't have time for this shit.
I'm gonna kill these kittens so we can save the animals. God dang it.
Wait a minute. Let's say that sentence one more time and see if we found a flaw in our logic.
Man, I didn't realize, this,
Woo!
she went with the mentality of a space marine here.
God dang it, Quantum Ranger! Quit disguising yourself as Princess Shayla.
Ugh, Jesus Christ. Okay. Derek versus Cheetah. Moving away from that shit show. That's funny as shit. All right, Derek versus Cheetah. So John, I said, based off of what I know from what Knight said and what Fingar said, and correct me if I'm wrong, this is probably going to be one of the longer fights of the two. They both have 6th sense. Cheetah's is better than Derek's, I believe, even if it's just a smudge. Cheetah has speed. Derek has the battle experience of fighting all the Rangers all at once.
What
and-
kind of weapon does he normally use? Knight.
So he only has the one weapon. Most Six Rangers are like that. It is the I almost said the wrong thing. The Lunar Q, because his kind of thing, his finisher move is like billiards. It can
Because
it
it's
can be
Power
a
Rangers.
sword. Yeah, it can be a sword or a blaster. And his animals are all predators: the wolf, the hammerhead, and the alligator.
Okay, well, Chitara's whole thing is her batons can go to the size of a bow staff and even longer. So she does have the reach on him, probably.
Well, he's used to that.
Yeah.
Because some of the Rangers' weapons were longer than his. I did want to point out, because we did mention the ninja fight. He is actually the one who defeated the ninja. His wolf sense kind of told him where it was, and then he blasted him and defeated him. And he does have his own finisher. He doesn't have to rely on them to, let our powers combine. And he does have other than whooping all 5 Rangers for like 5 episodes, he does have 5 confirmed monster kills, 1 being a general.
So he has a lot of battle experience.
And he's also 3,000 years old.
I'd say, aside from his ability to teleport to maybe get out of her way, unless she hits him like really hard and really fast, this fight's probably going to go more 60-40 him.
That's what I say. Like I feel like he would literally just. I feel like these two, if you put them in a jungle, literally just comes down to if she can get off a good shot, she wins. If not, then he's going to win in a matter of time. I hate to say it like that.
He'd outlast her.
Yeah, he would definitely outlast her because, again, I believe that if I remember correctly, she has speed, but she doesn't have endurance for the speed, just like a normal cheetah does. Like, I'm fast, but
Well,
she doesn't have the endurance to run at the top speed for long periods of time, I think is what he was saying.
Okay.
Yeah, and her top speed is clocked at 120 miles an hour. From one episode, that's what they mentioned it. She's like, oh, it's a nice jog of 120 miles an hour, and you're just like, nice jog, very funny.
And when he was versing the Rangers, 2 of them have faster animals than him, and it didn't matter. And then he is the one who, we've been speculating the whole time, but he's the one where his wolf did like intervene. He was in trouble, so his wolf was like, all right, I'm AI controlling this bike, and I'm gonna ram this monster.
Yeah, but the only thing Chitara really has is, especially in the first episode when you see her running through, she just basically destroys the mobs of mutants that are around there because she's so fast. She's just hitting them with the stick. So unless she's doing something similar to just basically like beating his ass with that stick, it's not going to make a difference.
Yeah, I do have to give it to him, 60-40, because I think you're right on that one. Is everybody all right with that? Because I feel like he would outlast her in the combat and everything. All right, Blue versus Linkso.
Let's see if your kung fu can beat my. Let's see if your kung fu can defeat the.
You cut out.
What are Linkso's abilities again?
So Linkso's blind. He has a really good sense of hearing. He basically does like pressure point kung fu fighting. And he has a sonic shield which does a lot of like noise damage, so like it affects like your ears and stuff like that, which is weird considering that's kind of also the source of how he sees the world, but it doesn't affect him. It's just something he can like shoot out, especially if somebody has like an energy blaster. He'll take the energy they shot into the back out. Pretty much he's kind of like I hate to say it, it's because it kind of sounds a little racist, but he's basically like the blind kung fu master kind of character. Now, he doesn't have as much experience as the original ThunderCats because he was a
he's one of the
Thunderian. Yeah, he's one of the new ones, so he doesn't have as much experience, but he does have his own fighting. He does have a way to defend himself.
Yeah.
And I don't know much about the Blue, so this one's going to be on y'all. I can't really help out too much.
I'm just going to see if I can argue to a 50-50 here, because the blue is.
Oh, what
If
kind of
I was
weapons?
to fight any
What,
ranger, it would be the blue. But-
what does Bowling Ball Ranger have besides the bowling balls?
So no, I'm not. That was a one-off, and
Um,
it was only useful on the one enemy.
hey, for all we know, bowling is Linkso's weakness here. But let's see what else we got. Come on, we'll give it a shot.
Obviously, Crystal Saber, he's definitely a melee fighter. Crystal Saber, the Blue Shark fighting fins, which are his go-to, and then the Sword of Pardolus. His animals are the shark and giraffe. He's the only one with 2. Everyone else got 3. Now, he was the 3rd ranger on the team, so he's got that going for him. I think they clocked him at 6 months prior to... This is all prior to, to Cole joining and the season starts, obviously. He is... It can kind of get weird. So, except for the red and the the wolf, and you could argue the... you can make compelling arguments for the white and yellow. He's one of the couple rangers that's not good 1v1, but he's very, very good at getting himself out of the 1v1. Mostly to team with his buddy, the Black Ranger. So
Should we just group them two together then? The black and blue versus Link's
He is back.
I mean, if you want to. I mean, the thing about Linkso is he also has less episodes that are kind of focused on him compared to the main 5 kind of characters.
The thing. Oh, go ahead.
Oh, you're fine. But the ones that they do focus on, he is very the wise man, strategist kind of character. And if he's able to hear what you're doing or hear you coming, he's pretty much got you to a degree.
So the thing about blue, and it's the same for black, so this will come into effect with black. The two of them have a motto: never give up. Because the two of them find themselves getting handled the most. Not obviously we've talked about blue's shortcomings. Black, even though we're not on him yet, is because he's used to, he doesn't, because he's so strong, he tanks a lot of hits. And usually the two of them are getting handled midway through the fight, and they look at each other and they say, never give up. It's only a thing between the two of them. And it gives them, their animal kicks in, and it gives them...
Does it give them a power boost?
Yes, it gives them a power boost.
The power of friendship.
I love it.
So they have a ThunderCats ho moment.
Yeah, they have a ThunderCats ho moment.
But so with them, it pretty much they ignore the pain, so to speak, and just get through whatever their hindrance is and get that hit in.
I have a better one than that. It's the Believe It from Naruto. Naruto gets his ass beat. Screams Believe It.
That's pretty much it.
Okay, so Heart of the Cards Yugi aside. Here's my question: has the Blue Ranger ever a org pressure point style?
You cut out there.
You cut out there.
Can you say that again?
Sorry. Who has a pressure point fighting style?
Yeah, not that per se. Definitely mind games and stuff he's done.
Okay.
Oh, can I interject right fast?
Sure.
Okay. I think one thing that might actually dictate this fight, so to speak, is what is Blue's armor? Does he have a specific type of armor, or is it just the skin suit thing that the Power Rangers have? And
yeah, only the Red Ranger has that, the animarium armor. Like I said, the other ones just have their standard, which still is able to tank hits from giant enemies.
So that's what I was saying. Is it kind of the reason why I say it is because you can't do pressure points if you can't get to the body, so to speak. So is it like a latex suit, or is it like a latex leather suit, or is it more like a leather
Spandex
suit?
It's hard to say what it's protected by the morphin grid. It's hard to say what it is because you see them take direct shots from swords and the sparks fly, and there might be a little black mark, but they're not bleeding.
Well, but there's certain pressure points he could probably still do even with them in armor.
Well, that's the thing. The
You
problem
are
about
right.
pressure
You
point,
know,
because I will say I do know about pressure points. If you can't get to specific of the area for the pressure points, then you can't activate the pressure points because that's literally just
yeah,
hitting
no, that you
specific
are right.
nerves on the body. So that's the problem that I'm having here with these two. Like it could literally go from 99 to 0 to back in favor of these two. Like
Well,
it
here's
comes
my
down to that
question:
one.
Did the Rangers ever go up against a Sonic powered using Ord or anything like that?
Yeah, they it was trying because time period.
Mhm.
I can't remember if it was a cassette. Anyways, it was sound. Yeah, they could
Okay.
make loud noises and stuff and all
Okay,
that.
and was that a solo Ranger defeat or was that more of a group defeat?
I can't remember if that was someone's specific episode or not.
Okay.
Obviously, they did win.
Let me see. Hold up a second here.
It was clearly a filler episode where they all died.
Yeah.
I must say they usually always go up against someone with sound, if I remember correctly.
Now, I something that does go in his his favor if there's
Oh,
water.
it's a church bell. Make deadly sound
Oh yeah.
effect.
Oh, it
Yeah.
was his episode. It was him in the Black Rangers episode actually, because he was the one that was inside the bell tanking the hits. Yeah.
Okay. All right.
So yeah,
Okay.
it was Black Ranger shouting "Never give up" to him to take the pain, and him shouting "Never give up" to the Black Ranger to defeat. It was the Black Ranger. Yeah. It was
Okay. There was also a karaoke or
yeah.
that would launch the CD, so that's where you're getting the confusion at. And then there was a flute one. They use sound a lot in this.
Yeah, the flute wasn't. That was mind control though. That wasn't like.
Yeah, but it still would
they were
be sort
making
of.
them dance terribly.
But what I'm saying is their helmets don't prevent sonic damage,
Right.
from what I'm understanding.
Right.
Okay. Because, like you said, if we say the suits, go against the pressure point thing.
Yeah. Now,
Yeah.
it was the Blue Ranger specifically that tanked those bell blasts, though.
Okay, so let's see. Let me look up one more thing about Linkso, and this might determine who wins here. Let's see. Knock him off balance stone. He can also feel vibrations, allow him to evade attacks and capture. Use sonic skills and.
Now, if there's water nearby, he is their underwater fighter.
Okay. Let me check one thing here real quick, because something.
I will say if they fight underwater, I feel like Linkso would also get kind of a bonus from that because sound travels faster in water.
Yep. Let's see. There he is. Let's see if this gives me any other information on his abilities here.
I knew this fight was going to long for a while because there's so many people characters. Terribly sorry about that.
That's why I suggested for the next one we could also do Sauron versus a Lich King. Just one character each again.
Okay, let me interrupt right fast. So, Tempest, the only reason I would have a problem bringing my characters into this is there would be such a big bias. It would, like, one of the thing about Stan Lee, which I always loved about Stan Lee, is, like, he loves Spider-Man, so his entire thing is, yeah, I'll put Spider-Man against anybody. Spider-Man's going to win. Because his mindset was, it's like, I'm the writer, so I'm gonna write it. I mean, I technically could do that. I mean, it would be kind of fun. Anyway, sorry, go.
Okay, so here's the thing about Linksos. No, there's really nothing. There's really no other abilities that he has listed here from the 1980 series, unfortunately. So I may have to give this to the Blue Ranger.
Yeah, I'm
Just since
kinda
he has the
on-
experience with the sound.
All right. So what's the percentage for the blue? Are we doing what do you think is fair?
I'd say 60-40.
Yeah, I'm about that.
I'm more than okay with that.
All right.
I'm fine with that as well.
All right. Last one: the heavyweight versus the heavyweight. Or
Yeah.
heavyweight versus the runner-up heavyweight.
I'm
Okay.
What was
What?
Go over him again. 'Cause it's been so long.
Bengali, he basically is a blacksmith. He reforges the Sword of Omen, so he knows his stuff. He's a white tiger. Just kind of give you an idea, kind of what it looks like. He carries around a hammer that does like energy blast, and they have pellets, kind of similar to the Wily Kit and Wily Cat, except he'll throw the pellet up and then use the hammer to hit the pellet, so it's kind of like he's got good like targeting kind of thing. That's pretty much all he has in the wiki. It does have some focus on it. Is what
He's also
Yeah.
as fast and agile like Tigra.
yeah, but he's not as well trained as Tiger.
Mm.
That's the big thing. But the difference between Bengali and Tiger, the Tiger learning how to fight as a Thundercat, and Bengali kind of fell into it later in life. If that makes sense.
All right. And then so Black Ranger's Danny Delgado. He is the strongest on the team, at least 2 times as strong or stronger than every other Ranger. Has his Crystal Saber, Black Bison Axe, and the Rhino Shooter, so he can go long range. And then his animal spirits are the Bison, the Rhino, and the Armadillo. So the animals that are girthy.
Okay. Okay, so the pellets are actually not like ball bearings like I thought originally. Apparently they are smoke bombs, so he can actually do more of a distraction too. I don't know if that'll come into play or not.
So Bengali, basically tough blacksmith with laser hammer.
Yeah, and he'll use like smoke bombs to like distract people instead of going invisible like Tiger. He basically like Ninja Van.
Okay, and
with that hammer, he can basically break manacles and other heavy metal like one strike kind of thing. It's not like I've got to do this multiple times kind of thing. It's literally just this isn't like a Thor size hammer or anything. This is like the size of a. So it's not Mjolnir size. Home Depot, $5 hammer.
Okay.
not even
Like-
not even like an 8-pound hammer, but like a 8-ounce hammer that you can get. from
Yeah,
Home Depot.
pretty much. But the thing is he's so strong with using it that this thing's like can break a bunch of stuff basically.
So if anyone could probably punch a hole through their armor, it'd probably be his hammer
Probably.
and Lino's sword. But we're past that fight.
Yep.
And then he has the never give up thing as well. Believe it.
Mm-hmm. Yeah.
Well, so like I said, I feel like he's very durable if he takes majority of the shots too. So like I said, it's going to be a heavyweight for these.
Yeah,
two.
he's not a dodger. He just tanks the hits and then says
I think-
never give up and never gives up.
I think this is going to be one of those 51-49s, honestly. Just because.
Like Bengali's favor,
Oh no! It would probably be in the Rangers' favor because he gets beat up 40 times by the white tiger ranger. So I'm automatically thinking it's another white tiger. I'm a kicker butt. I'm a guy. But anyway,
I mean, if Bengali fights like Andre from Dark Souls, he could probably kick some ass.
I think one of the things is like, especially with the what I call the new Thundercats, these three, including Pumaira, they don't have as much experience, but at the same time, I feel like if you have the experience of even the Brooklyn Brawler won some matches every once in a while,
Right.
and I feel like if you can take a beating long enough, you find a weak somebody. And the other thing is Bengali not necessarily as calm. He's one of the younger Thundercats, so he might still be more into that thick-headedness that Lion-O has, because he kind of took over that role of being that character who gets into trouble by not thinking things out first.
So he's more like brash.
More so because again, he kind of falls into this and has very little, very similar to the Black. So I mean,
Okay.
so I'd say probably 51-49 Black Ranger.
I'm okay with that because I think that these two are just a heavyweight. They're going to keep
This
hitting
is
each
just
other.
a heavyweight fight,
Oh,
pretty
yeah.
much.
Then knock
The
him out.
most WWE style fight of the matchup so far.
Foreign objects, the hammer to the face. Yeah.
Now he does use his axe and stuff, so there might be a few parries.
Well, the other thing is, the only thing in that case then is he's used to also fighting the mutants, which always have axes, and so do some of the Lunatax characters. It's just usually any kind of medieval weapon, all the are used.
Yeah,
So I mean,
I don't, because he didn't use it because it's not his style. He does have the Rhino shooter, so if he took the time to think about it, he could be like, I could go long range, but I don't know. That would be very situational.
yeah, but then you've also got the hammer does shoot the blast and stuff. So
Yeah. Question. Do we think that any of the Rangers / Thundercats who win would be really able to help influence the Red versus Lion-O fight?
I definitely think the Six Ranger would, because he has another finisher. And then take all of their armor away. Well, he proved it. Take all of their armor away. He's the better fighter. It's just the Red Ranger gets all those boosts post their fight.
Yeah, but I think if you take the armor away, at that point, Lion-O's winning rather easily compared to, before, like, with all the boosts and everything taken into account.
Well, it wouldn't be a fully health Lion-O either.
Well, so what I'm
if
saying
Lion-O
is,
won, you think that the Six Ranger could probably finish him off, kind of thing?
Yeah.
it's possible. Then again, Lido could just open up the whole Eye of Thunder and pull a Deus Ex Machina magical thing that he's never used before out of his behind and automatically win the fight to begin with. I mean, that's the hard thing is like this particular weapon. Like if we took that out of the equation, hands down, it wouldn't even really be much of a fight from between the two groups. But
the Gear Zord also heals. So if White Ranger's winning her fight, then she could just heal. It becomes a cleric at that point.
True. Like I said, when it comes to that sword, that's the MacGyver basically of all kinds. So I'd say, let's see, we had a tie with Red and Lion-O. White won, Tiger won, Wolf Zord won. Yeah, basically it's very heavily in the Rangers.
yeah, it's heavily in the Rangers
In
right
one-on-one.
now, in one-on-one.
Yeah. As a group fight, I think that would be a completely different thing. Because when all 8 of them are together, fighting together. They're really good as a unit.
That's kind of the same with the Rangers too. Unfortunately, that's with both things, we'll be able to go hours of that because I have so many notes where the Rangers were in 1v1s. Obviously, the only two that want to be 1v1 are the two of finishers. Late season Red and Wolf Ranger at any time. Every other time they do their little gimmicky tricks and they get out of the 1v1 long enough to do a team up with their weapons. Because if their weapons combine, then they can do a little something with it.
Yeah.
So I do have for the second one, which is again it's an unlikely outcome, but it's still there. Red hits the eye, wins the battle, goes to assist the other Rangers, and wins this fairly easily. Because again he's able to take the sword away. I think the first outcome would be I think the Rangers would win. In a sense that they would, again, they would slowly start picking each other off and kind of going into their specific areas to start to fight. Because if I remember correctly, for the Power Rangers, usually it's always kind of they'll fight and then they'll always kind of go 1 versus 1 in specific areas and then kind of group up, and then once they group up, then they do their
whoever's
ultimate
episode
fist.
it is.
Yeah, then they do that thing.
The whole formula of Power Rangers 1v1. Again, except for these very the Red Ranger and the Six Ranger, they're dang near useless, right? I mean, I could probably take them, but the whole concept of Power Rangers is teamwork. Their weapons combine, their Zords combine. It's all about you're stronger with your friends.
Well, that's also the same thing with ThunderCats, which I think Saban kind of. I feel like there's a lot of influence on Power Rangers from ThunderCats, at least the parts without the Zords, to a degree.
Well, I think Sentai, because our season 1 was their season 16, and that was in '93. So I think Sentai predates ThunderCats. And,
but I'm saying the personality types and how characters interact with each other. It feels like there's a lot of that in there. If that makes sense.
Which, if we were using Sentai, this season would be Gaio Ranger, and they're way stronger.
Oh, Gaio.
So what I'm feeling right now is the first outcome is, which again they meet, they start to fight, they break down into the 1v1s, and then that's when everything's going to kind of start breaking down for them. And the Rangers will pull out a victory because, again, 1v1, I feel like most of them will be able to pull out a victory. And the second outcome, which is very unlikely, but still there, Red hits the eye, wins the battle. I mean, then it's just a kind of a complete wash. And then the third outcome, if they stayed group up, I think the Cats can pull out a bit of a victory, a bit more, because then they can kind of swap up a bit more. Because they're more used to fighting in a group, whereas the Power Rangers kind of sprayed up, break out, fight, beat down, come together, finish off. And that, I think that's what it is. But again, I think the first and likely outcome is the group breaks down, and then a little bit of 1v1 fights begin to happen as the battle starts to get a little bit more, starts to expand outward a little bit.
All right, 100 Zords versus the Eye of Thundera. Who wins? I'm just kidding.
Oh, Jesus Christ, no, I ain't doing that.
Yeah, 100 sentient Zords.
Oh, it's even worse. They all think.
100 sentient Zords versus 100 dreadnoughts.
Anyways, is everybody okay with this outcome?
Yeah, I think the third outcome, I would have probably gone with that as well, just because the ThunderCats would have been able to cover each other's weaknesses a little bit better in the group fight in that regard. So I agree with that one.
Cool. All right.
I am completely upset, and I refuse to accept the results of this contest. Grr.
I about to say, I mean, you did pretty good with it. I mean, I thought that would
No,
be
no,
nice.
nah. Like,
Yeah, you're pretty tough.
no, don't worry. There's not very many things I'm fandomed like this, but I just happen to have like all 4 seasons on DVD. So like, I know this one.
Well, again, I am very okay with this. The fact that it's 4 seasons versus 40 episodes.
Yeah. Plus, we're also excluding the most powerful thing that the frickin' Rangers have, which is the Zords. But
Yeah, I didn't want to bring those in because then it's kind of like a skyscraper looking
Well,
down at a tank.
there is one thing I do want to point out that we could do for a future battle. That we could include the Zords. There is a form that Mum-Ra does that is basically like Godzilla kaiju.
All right,
So that could be something we do at some point.
that'd
But
be cool.
yeah,
With their immediate 17 Zords, they make 3 Megazords and still have a few like just floating around supporting. If you
but
count
it's
in-
Mum-Ra.
Yeah, if you count Animarius, then they have 22 Zords at their disposal and 4 Megazords. And obviously, if you count the
I don't
100
count him
Megazords-
because he owes me money and he run like a bitch.
Yeah, if you count the 100 Zords, then you have 20 Megazords, one of them being Animarius.
Oh, by the way, so the inside joke for these, since we're doing these every Monday, if we
Mhm.
get annoyed with one of the outcomes because they're too broken and we figured it out or kind of late into the game, we
Mhm.
just feed them the Kirby.
No. We just open the Eye of Thundera and we're all
This-
No, we got to make
We get-
Kirby stronger.
Yeah,
we
gotta
would
make
give
Kirby
Kirby
stronger.
the Eye of Thundera.
Well, right now Kirby's sitting with the Eyes of Destruction, so now we're gonna get him the Eyes of Thundera. Oh, that'd be scary. All right,
I
well,
will
okay.
I will say, with the exception of just a handful of others off the top of my head without rewatching, knowing what I know now about the ThunderCats, they would definitely run through a lot of Power Ranger teams. Just
Oh yeah,
this one.
especially the ones that work at the pizza place.
What do you mean? Those are the best ones.
Alrighty, what do we want to do next week? So we have a few options. I kind of like Roderick's earlier one because it takes a little bit of a spin off of the fighting.
Oh, the racing one that Roderick did.
The racing one
Yeah.
sounds pretty fun, which is, what is it? Ladder versus Captain Falcon versus Speed Racer in a race, all depending
Yeah.
on. Okay.
That is only if we have information on their vehicles, because let's be honest here, if they did an actual fight, Captain Falcon would win 100%.
Yeah, I mean he's going up
Right.
against Speed Racer, who's a kid with a car.
We could get those mathematics. I mean, we just got to.
Yeah.
Is there a game or a video of like the white lines on the racetrack? Because those are spaced, a certain.
Yeah,
amount.
well, that's what I'm saying. We got to figure that out. If we can,
Yeah, we
Hang
gotta do
on.
some math. Yeah.
One second. You're
Yeah.
asking about how fast the F-Zero car that he uses does?
yeah.
I feel like it goes extremely fast, if I'm not mistaken.
It also depends on which universe you're going with.
Both
I
of
mean,
them technically do. Let's be honest here. The Speed Racer cars go pretty freaking fast.
yeah,
Let's
well,
see,
I mean,
the
it
Blue
could
Falcon.
it could literally go upside down while still driving
and
because of the
both-
speed.
Both of
Let's
those,
see.
both of those vehicles
So there's two.
also ram into each other.
Let's see. There's only one, but an F-Zero X number changed to 7. Falcon Flyer.
Captain Falcon versus Speed Racer. Okay.
Captain Falcon wins. He just Falcon punches speed through the
Said
window.
no fighting.
No. That's if Captain Falcon fights Racer. Let's see. Official data. Trivia. Here's an Animal Crossing. I don't care that he's an Animal Crossing. How fast is the damn car go? I'm so glad we have so many pictures of the stupid thing. Tell me how fast the freaking car goes. I'm going to murder everybody.
Okay, Sauron versus the Lich King would also be a good one.
Yeah, that's what I'm thinking too. It's like they're both very similar to one another. And
Max speed, 457 kilometers an hour.
Ooh.
And what's the max speed of the car and
Mach
speed race?
5.
Yeah,
Okay, hang on.
Wait, Captain Falcon. A dumb question because I don't know a lot about him. Does he race?
Yeah, he came from an original SNES game called.
Oh yeah.
Oh, the Mach 5 from Speed Racer has a top speed of 300 miles per hour.
Okay.
But here's the thing: F-Zero is supposed to be a futuristic, like hover car. So him going 457 kilometers and a bit of a ratio. 457 kph to mph. Oh, the Mach 5 is actually faster
Oh.
because it's 300 miles an hour, and the 457 converted to miles per hour from kilometers per hour is 283.967, so 284 miles an hour. So yeah.
Okay. So
Oh, yeah.
And then you've
we
got
could
all
do that
the
one.
yeah, I mean, like, there's a bunch of stuff that's like in the cars and stuff like that. That's
So if they went down a straightway, speed would win, but we could probably come up with like a course idea, or like which would probably be better in like certain kind of courses, kind of thing.
so we put them both on Rainbow Road.
I was about to say I was legitimately thinking we could do Rainbow Road.
And we give me the blue shell. Yes.
We can probably get footage of how they corner and stuff. See who handles it better.
The F-Zero says 457 kilometers per hour. So, yeah.
Yeah, how does it corner?
It's a hovercraft, dude. It's not an actual car. I don't think
Sauron
it
versus
believes in
Alduin.
corners.
That would also be kind of cool. Sauron is essentially like a lesser god in the J.R.R. Tolkien mythos, and so is Alduin.
Well, technically, the guy before Saruman or
Morgoth.
Sauron, Morgoth
Oh,
is Morgoth is like
he's a greater god.
yeah.
He's
Or
like he's like
Lucifer basically to their whole
Right.
thing. So yeah.
yeah, which is weird because Sauron is a much better deceiver.
All right, so which one do y'all want to try? Do y'all want to try the racing one next, or do y'all want to do Sauron next? I feel like if we do the racing one, I want to. How about we do Sauron next, and then we'll do the racing one, the one after, and we can actually make a track, and actually do like an actual cool track.
Okay.
Would y'all be okay with that?
I'd be okay with that.
All right. So who's doing background on what?
I can do background on Sauron. Don't need to give me an excuse to read the Silmarillion again.
So I take it that means we need somebody to go through all the World of Warcraft lore about the Lich King.
That would be a Roderick or a Luna.
Yeah, I was gonna say I'll let y'all drive on this. I'll be in neutral going into it.
And I will also, just as a safety precaution, maybe do like some background checking on Morgoth, just in case the Lich King turns out to be really fucking strong.
I mean, Sauron is kind of nuts.
But I
Oh,
say,
he is.
don't shrug off
Yeah.
Sauron. He's.
Oh no, I'm not shrugging off Sauron.
Oh, okay.
I really don't want to read the similar. You know what I'm talking
The
about.
Silmarillion.
Silmarillion.
Thank you.
Yeah.
I really don't want to read that, but
Basically, here's the thing about the Silmarillion. Sauron's not really that important to Silmarillion either.
Yeah, not in that one.
so they explain his powers a little bit in that. That's why I mentioned.
Right,
They explain
right.
how he tricked everybody. That's about it. Because basically he lost his pretty form because of all the shenanigans.
Yeah, because of the sinking of Numenor.
Yeah.
I'm telling
Because that
Luna we're
was
doing
his-
Lich Queen, see if I can egg her back on.
Lich King. I mean, I can look through everything on World of Warcraft. Okay, I haven't
No,
done
you don't have to worry
it.
about that. We got Roderick and we got Luna that knows everything about
I think after
Warcraft.
like 7 years of WoW, I think I'm more than capable of talking about him for a little bit.
Which one? There's been multiple.
We don't bring in
Uh,
the bitch one, we bring in the rest of them. I've heard it enough for them.
We don't talk about the Lich bitch.
We don't talk about Sylvanas. La,
and
da, da, da,
that the
da.
Lich bitch can go against the Eye of Sauron. They just both don't exist.
No. The eye can be somebody
Okay,
else.
so surprisingly, Luna's kind of in the same boat Roderick is. Sauron probably wins this, so we might want to double check.
Yeah.
I don't
He's kinda-
think Sauron wins this, though. That's the thing.
Okay, okay. That's the
Sauron
thing.
with or without the Ring of Power?
Well, that's the thing. I was going to include. That's a good question. If we don't include the Ring of Power, I would say it'd be before he makes it. But then he still has that power. He just doesn't have control over, like, at that point he wouldn't have the Nazgul.
Well, here's my question. You're doing two villains. Do you include their minions in there as well?
Well, that's what I'm saying. If we don't include
I mean,
the
I'd be
the
kind of
Ring of
okay
Power-
with including the minions because like both of them have pretty substantial armies.
Yeah.
And plus, here's the other thing: if you're taking out the Ring of Power, you also need to take out the Helm of the Lich King because it's both two items that are giving him abilities. So,
So
it's
Luna
kinda-
says, "Give a sec." She's gonna hop on.
"Gosh,
Well,
shit."
Okay, so the problem is with the Ring of Power
But
is
let's let's
yeah,
talk
wait.
about it.
let's talk about it.
No, I'm saying like we could do a little research and then like get back on it, like in like chatting as a group.
Yeah, we'll do that.
Just to
Kind of
see-
figure it
just
out.
to see if that like a little more to see if it is a fair fight or not before we.
Well,
try
here's
that.
my question: how are we going to get Illidan to bitch smack Sauron? That's my.
Tell him the cold sucks.
Yeah. Well, okay, so
No. He'll just look at Sauron after he smacks him and goes, "You were not prepared."
No, we're literally doing a rematch of the Heat Miser versus the Cold Dude.
You mean Cold Miser?
Whatever that guy's name was.
okay, question.
Well, I mean, I'm the shit miser.
Would you
Whatever
consider-
I touch turns to poop in my clutch.
Would you
I'm
consider,
too
since
much.
Sauron was the second hand of Morgoth, that the Balrogs would also count as
So this is the
Subordinate
problem that you're
Sauron.
having because one of the aspects that I read when I did a giant Lord of the Rings dive, Sauron at his peak power had Balrons, which were like the infantry field soldiers of the
So-
That
ancient
was
fucking
Morgoth.
army.
that was Morgoth who had the Balrogs as their
Oh,
you know,
okay.
foot soldiers.
Are we talking about the vampire lords? Are we talking about the werewolf lords? Which minions do you want to question?
I feel like to make it somewhat kind of fair, I'm not. I feel like we should exclude the Balrogs because they are essentially Maiar as well.
I'll
The
be honest with
Nazgul
you. I'd
probably
probably
be fine.
exclude the armies.
I don't count them as Mylar. I
No,
backable.
the Balrogs are corrupted Maiar who.
I'm
sided with
making a
Morgoth.
joke.
Well, like if you include their armies, you're also including like Kel'Thuzad and
Well,
Oh,
yeah,
oh.
you need your generals, yeah.
So that's why
If-
I would
if we-
exclude the armies.
What about how this? If we include them, let's include like maybe just their general, like their head general, like the King of the Nazgul and like the Lich King's general.
Well, who's attacking and who's defending too?
Ooh, good question.
Shit, I can't even do that because now I think about it, Saruman is also a minion of Sauron, and he's also a fucking Maiar.
That's why I wouldn't bring in the minions
Yeah,
and stuff.
we'll
That's
exclude minions.
adding too many variables.
Because the
there.
problem is that you're going with Korn versus Oryx. Cool. Well, I bring out my card. Well, this is my. You activated my trap card. This is my guy. You're going to run into that.
All right. Well, in that case, I'm gonna probably hop off of here for right now.
Oh,
Cool
Luna
down.
gets on
there
now.
she is. Yay!
Yeah, I have to hop
Hello.
off as well.
Hello.
Apparently, we're bringing up a lich bitch or something like that.
No, we're
Yeah.
ignoring that one.
So I'm assuming the Lich King version that you're going with is Arthas.
Yeah.
Nah,
I do still think
man.
that Sauron wins.
I mean, it'd be probably better than Ner'zhul.
Definitely a lot better than Ner'zhul, mostly because of the fact that the Arthas actually has autonomy and can move around
Mhm.
and actually fight. Rather than just
Okay.
be telepathically controlling a horde of undead.
So let me ask this then: would it be a fun fight or would it be a one-sided brawl?
It would be a fun fight. I do think that the Lich King would be able to probably take out Sauron's physical form. But the fact that Sauron can still fight as a spirit.
I'll catch you
And
guys
has
later.
fought
Alright,
many
good
a
night, dude.
times in the spirit.
I think my problem about the whole thing with Arthas is I'm trying to remember, because I know there was a bunch of books and I never read the WoW books. So I know there's a bunch of material that I'm missing, because I remember at one point he fought Illidan like no problem.
Oh yeah, and that was before he became the Lich King. Actually, the
Yeah.
two met at the foot of the pillar of ice, pretty much, that held the frozen throne, both seeking the helm of domination and the armor that came with it. And during that time, Illidan was pretty much, I think, just about full power, if not already there, because he was already like full on like demon corrupted and everything, and still managed to kick his butt. The problem is, though, is that the movies don't give Sauron enough love when it comes to his actual like power.
Mhm.
Because the dude is, I think, as old as the world.
Oh yeah, no, he's a Maiar. He was created when Iluvatar created the universe. He's as old as Morgoth, but Morgoth was just far more powerful.
But even then, Sauron was still someone that the entirety of Middle Earth had to come defend against at some point. Lich King was similar in that regard, but let's be fair here. Tolkien's bad guys take on conceptual meanings at some point, while Arthas was a lot more grounded, if that made sense. If that makes sense.
Yeah. Even like for instance, like Rings of Power, like even the show, Sauron doesn't really fight in there. It's more of just showing how deceptive he is. And like how much of a trickster he can be.
Well, again, don't get me wrong. Sauron is a powerhouse in of himself. He will beat the crap out of so many. But one of the biggest points I think that comes down to as well is their magical equipment. Sauron has the One Ring, and that is indestructible as long as it doesn't get thrown back where it was forged. The Lich King's sword, on the other hand, not quite as indestructible. It's definitely pretty dang tough, and it took a weapon of legend to go ahead and even scratch it. But I feel like Sauron's own mace would probably be able to beat the sword pretty decently with the power that's behind it.
Yeah, especially with the power of like that he can swing it with.
So let me interrupt right fast. So I'm looking at the battle wiki, and I like this one because it actually kind of helps. So they do by power tiers, and the highest power tier is tier 3. So for Sauron, it's high 3A. High 3A, higher with the One Ring, at least 7-A, possibly to the 3. Okay, so the lower the number, the stronger it is. Okay. Never mind. Forget what I was saying.
And
Well,
don't get
yeah,
me wrong, they both have powerful magic. I mean, literally, the Lich King is able to mentally control all undead in Azeroth.
Mm,
That's some pretty damn good telepathy.
yeah. Whereas, like, though with Sauron, he has a lot of dark magic.
Actually,
like,
that's kind of interesting, Tempest. I have to look that up.
Wait a minute, there is one other thing. Possible immortality. Uther stated that the Lich King could only truly be destroyed atop Icecrown Citadel where he was crowned. If that's true, then both of them are going to be locked in an eternal struggle.
No, Tempest. Apparently, and I always say Ganon, and I don't know why. Gandalf, there it is. Said no. Dragons cannot destroy. Dragon's breath cannot destroy the One Ring.
Nope. Nothing but the fires of Mount Doom can. That is actually one of the few hard rules of Tolkien's world.
yeah. I think it also comes down to the fact that dragons, if they were like original creatures that weren't created by Morgoth well after the founding races, then perhaps the fires could have been strong enough. But like they were a corruption
Not
created with dark magic.
the biggest
Some-
dragon, man. He went down way too easy, I feel like.
All right, so we'll have to think of another one because I'm kind of looking at the battles now in the battle wiki, and Jesus. Okay, yeah, no, it wouldn't be a fun fight. It would be a like a
Oh, it would be a glorious
Oh, it'd be
fight.
glorious. It'd be a glorious spectacle. But I think ultimately it would come down to battle of the spirit of Sauron versus the spirit of the Lich King.
Which ultimately the Lich King's spirit.
So the problem is that
mortal.
like apparently the speed alone of Sauron is like massive faster than light combat speed reaction should be superior to the
Okay, if that was true,
something
he
of
would never
black.
got the ring cut off him in the first place.
Well,
I
do
feel
keep
like
in
that might be
mind plot
travel speed.
holes is a thing.
Plus, the ring getting cut off his hand like that only happened in the movie. Apparently, it happened differently. Whereas in
Huh?
like other depictions, I can't remember if it was in
Yeah,
the
he
book.
has like faster than light speed, combat speed, and reactions. I mean, Sauron is apparently literally a god walking around on the mortal world.
We could. Okay, well, how about this then? What about the King of the Nazgul? Instead, do you think that'd be more of a fair fight to the Lich King?
Which
Oh,
was the
Lich King
king.
would wipe the floor with him. Unfortunately, that goes to a power dip where I'm pretty sure the Lich King would just be, oh, you're under my control now.
Which one was your
yeah, the-
suggestion, Tempest?
Alduin, the World Devourer from Skyrim.
That would be a fun fight. I don't know much about Lord or Elden Ring. That would be a Luna and I think Roderick and
Oh
yourself.
god, yeah, no, we got you. Who
Alduin,
versus
so
you?
Alduin versus Sauron.
Alduin versus Sauron?
Yeah. Would it
That
be
is actually
fun?
a tough one.
If it's a
It
tough
would be
one, then let's do
fun,
it.
but I still feel like that would be Sauron. Again, he is strong as shit.
Yeah. The problem is movie depiction of Sauron makes him look weak by
Oh, yeah,
comparison.
kind of like how it makes Gandalf and the other Maiar and stuff look weak.
Yeah. Because like Gandalf is strong and like in the context of the story, Gandalf is incredibly strong. But then
Oh.
like Sauron is like the strongest of the Maiar.
Okay, yeah, this. I mean, he has. So, I will fill the dragon because I can't pronounce his name. It would be a fun fight only because the dragon has like massive speed, is super durable, has infinite amount of stamina and massive range. So it would be able to keep up with Sauron in a physical combat, but I think Sauron wins with magical bullshit.
Pretty much, because
And probably corruption too.
Alduin has the ability to essentially, if he used his powers right, he could technically manipulate reality to a point.
Actually, I would kind of like to do this fight because the more I'm looking at it, it's like it's a battle of.
Now, if you want a good Elder Scrolls versus Tolkien fight, Sheogorath versus anybody.
No, I don't like Shugo. I personally don't like Shugorath.
Aw.
He's Deadpool God, and then it's just now I will say not Shugorath. I would rather put who replaced Shugorath, which is the
Well, the thing is to mantle a Daedric princess to become them, essentially. So it's basically the same person after that.
I'm just getting rid of him. I'm just gonna go with the logical one that was so powerful that all the other ones had to entrap him and create Shugorath.
Oh god. Jigalag.
Yeah, the one who's like, I am order, I am
I'm
rules.
pretty sure that would be Jigalag at that point.
I am order, I am rules, and all the other ones. Well, we don't like your rules.
You went pre-curse?
You want to do that?
Oh
fight?
yeah, no, trust me. Roderick, I've seen that, and my favorite line from it is, "I will tear out your heart. You will find nothing there."
I saw that and I was like, damn it. we can't do it anymore.
No, again, favorite.
Which one?
I hated that the Lich King lost.
DB
at first,
Screw Attack already covered the
Oh yeah, no, Screw Attack's covered a lot of what we've already done.
the Sauron versus
Oh.
Lich King, and I was like, dang it.
Yeah, I figured.
We
Well,
also currently covered Dark
they
Souls
didn't-
main character versus Skyrim main character.
But it's okay. They didn't cover Power Rangers versus the Thundercats.
woohoo!
Yeah.
No, they
They've
just
only
covered,
done Voltron versus the
Lion-O
Megazord,
versus,
and then Dragonzord versus Godzilla.
and don't forget Lion-O versus He-Man.
Okay, well, hold on. Who won that battle?
Which one?
The versus Godzilla.
It's Godzilla.
How about say
Yeah.
it's Godzilla's going to beat that one? I'm sorry, I'm a
Yeah,
big Godzilla fan.
I forgot.
He just had
Godzilla
way
just
more
has.
feats. Yeah.
I forgot Godzilla just has fuck you powers. That's right.
I'm about to say I admit, but Godzilla does have like stupid fuck you powers.
He has fought against.
All right, I have a
Ghidorah,
fight.
Who destroys planets?
I have a
But
fight.
to be fair, they even did it in the comics. They did a Power Rangers versus Godzilla.
What's your
and
fight,
literally,
manager?
Oh no, I'm
literally
letting
the first scene is like Godzilla handling the Dragon Zord. So I was like, oh, God dang it. All right, whatever. it is written, so it is so.
So what
Yeah.
if we do Samus versus Boba?
Okay, see, that's actually a pretty good one.
Oh,
Literally the
Yeah.
best bounty hunter versus the best bounty hunter.
yeah.
I don't know about the best bounty hunter.
Samus is the best bounty hunter in her universe. Boba's the best bounty hunter in the Star Wars.
I don't know about that. Spike Spiegel's got them both.
No. See, if you're talking like best space person, like Malcolm Reynolds is pretty good. All right.
Like the more I'm thinking about this fight, the more I'm like, well, Samus has armor. Boba has Mandalorian fuck you gear. Samus has a cannon. Boba has a fucking cannon. They both have
Eventually-
overpowered ships.
Eventually,
Bounty Hunter
could
did
we-
both.
One of these verses, I don't want it to be like person versus person. I really want to, like, one of them, like, that I've been really thinking of is going to be which Hive City is going to be the worst. 40K, Star Wars, or Judge Dredd.
Oh God.
The worst. Okay, it's a tie between Judge Dredd and Warhammer because
No, don't.
Hive cities aren't that bad.
No,
It's
no. I will interrupt. Yes, Star Wars Hive cities are just as bad. Look at Coruscant. It's so bad that you don't even know what's on level 1 other than you will die if you go to level 1. A normal
No,
human.
you will die if you go to level 200 or below due to the radiation and
That's-
everything else. No.
That's the point.
Yeah, I know, but you're not gonna be on the lower levels. You're gonna be on the mid to higher.
But that's the thing though. It's
We're
like
talking
what's
about
the
the worst
worst
of the
one?
worst.
That is the worst of the worst.
Ah,
Like,
yeah,
where would you
no.
rather be? Would you rather be at the worst Star Wars Hive City, the worst, so the number 1 in Coruscant,
Okay.
the number 1 on Terra, or the number 1 on Judge? Which Judge is up there, but like I don't
That's what I'm
know.
saying. Well, here's the thing: you could encounter in Hive City just chaos cults on a normal basis.
So let's do that next. That will be a lot
So,
of
like-
fun, and then we'll do.
I still feel like Warhammer would win that one because, like, Star Wars, you would just straight up just die.
We like it wouldn't like realistically we could just talk about like what are the disadvantages about like all of them.
All right, worst
Honestly,
Hive
I would
city
love
to
to.
live in.
You know, I feel like
Warhammer.
Dredge would be the best one,
Star
just
Wars.
because worst case scenario, you live in Detroit.
Well, like the Judge Dredd City one is absolutely terrible because like realistically it's like okay, so if I live here I'm screwed. If I'm exist here I'm screwed. You've crossed the road at the wrong time. Yeah, fucking 5 years in prison. Oh man.
Yeah. So we'll do that one next, because that one would be a lot of fun, and I know no one's really done that one before. So we'll do the worst Hive city to live into the sci-fi universe.
Yeah. I'm gonna have to research the Judge Dredd one a little bit. It's been a long time since I've looked into it.
I'm gonna have to research Star Wars Coruscant level 1. I know it's Coruscant, hands down, because it's literally you're talking about a Hive city. It's a Hive planet. It's literally a whole planet that is a city. So it's like that's where you're going to be, the worst of the worst. And as Luna said, the lower you get, the god awful it becomes.
I'm gonna come into this with fresh eyes, as if like you guys are trying to sell me on living in one of these cities.
Oh.
Sir, why don't you go ahead and
honestly,
try out
the
our
best
radiated
one to-
cesspool?
The best one to live in would probably still be Star Wars. The worst and the best, honestly, in my opinion, probably Star Wars.
I mean, like the best part about this is like if I remember correctly, Terra Hive World's like it's a shithole if you're on the outside or the inside. You're still crap. On Star Wars, the positive is if you're on the top floor, so if you could see the sun, if you could see the light at all, you have a good or a decent life. If you cannot see the sun, you're not having a good life.
I mean, even with
But in all fairness, worst case scenario with Star Wars, you die. Worst case in Warhammer is a lot worse than death.
We are.
Worst case Warhammer, you've accidentally joined a cult.
No, Kum have already figured that one out. The best case scenario for Warhammer is turning into bread.
Yeah, there's that. True, very true.
But yeah, no, we'll figure that one out, because again, it's going to be a fun one of which one's the worst one to particularly live in, and I like that idea.
Actually, Star Wars has a bunch of
Could
hidden
we
shit.
include as a Hive city? It's not exactly the same as a Hive, actually, full-on Hive city, but I feel like it'd be a bad city to live in.
Take your time. Are you talking about the city from Cyberpunk?
No.
Actually, that could be a good discussion too. What would you rather live in? Steampunk, solarpunk, or cyberpunk?
Trash punk.
Oh god, what the fuck is the name of this? Or Lothric. Like Lothric Castle in Dark Souls.
Yeah, I mean it's just a castle, right?
Well, but I'm talking about like the whole city as a whole, like going everywhere from like.
So like Lothric City.
Yeah.
You could look into that one and tell us if that you really deem that to be like something you would want to add into that.
Yeah, because I feel like I will probably include. Like if I do that, if I include that, if you guys are cool with me including that, I will do like a split of how bad is it with the undead curse, and how bad is it without it. Without
sure.
it.
Okay, so Tempest is so now we're all real estate agents. I look forward to the next discussion. Alright, I'm going to end it here since we're at 3 hours and 30 minutes. Next discussion will be the worst hive city to live in the sci-fi universe.
I'm
It's
actually excited about this one.
This is going to be fun. So we'll meet back up next Monday, 8:30 p.m. again. This Wednesday we will be dropping Rimuru Tempest versus Anos. I'll be doing my 10-minute battle on TikTok, YouTube, and then we're putting the podcast on YouTube and Spotify. There, I couldn't think of it. So that will be our goals on Wednesday, and then next Wednesday this one will drop.
Oh wait, if we're doing sci-fi, I can find a sci-fi themed city that would probably fit better than
Bye.
Universal 3.
Who's streaming so I can raid since everybody gets
Yeah.
mad if I don't raid?
Lunar.
Alright, I'm gonna raid. She yells at me if I don't raid anybody.
I also try to yell at you for not rating anyone.
Everybody yells at me for not raiding.
Yeah.
Why don't you raid? Because the people in here already follow everybody. Bye! I missed the button. There it is.
You should get raid messages too.